Hello, classmates. Javier has entered the chat. Happy Gilmore 2, The Reckoning. Joseph's playing games, and Monkey Man fights the First Omen.
Oh, it's time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call! Bueller?
I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller?
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm late for class.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kimble to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Welcome to Middle Class Film Class. I'm your host for today, Pete.
I'm Javier.
And I'm Joseph.
And we have a great show in store for you today. Welcome to everybody joining us on YouTube Live and otherwise, and as well to the OG classmates listening in podcast land. And we need to address the elephant, Javier in the room. What's up, buddy?
Yo, what's up, everyone? How we all doing?
Oh, great. So happy, so good to have you back on the show.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
The last time you were on, you reviewed two movies, Hellraiser and...
No,
it was
I've done three. Yeah, so it was the first one was The Voices.
Like I just completely in shock right
The
now.
Voices?
three. I only remember two.
You did The Voices with us?
Yeah, it was The Voices.
Okay.
Because you were on your honeymoon, and then you said
Honeymoon, what?
No, honey. Oh my
5-year
God.
5-year anniversary.
5-year honeymoon anniversary, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then after that, it was Hellraiser,
Yes.
and then after that, it was The Godfather.
Godfather.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we did The Godfather together.
I do remember that.
that was
but,
at Joseph's place too. Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
was Tyler not there as well?
he was not there.
I mean,
Oh.
flip a coin. Tyler's not here.
Oh, yeah. More often than not.
Where is Tyler, Joseph?
Well, what I understand is that he is currently at the dump,
Literally at the dump.
with his father. In my opinion, he's looking for a new mattress or something.
He did say in the chat, he goes, "Sorry, fellas, I can't be there Saturday. I got to go to the dump with the old man." And we said, "Okay, well,
Okay, I guess you won't be here.
Yeah, it'll be perfect because Javier's going to be here, so we don't have to reformat for 4. Even though we got the mic, but we don't have the camera.
Yeah.
We're gonna scramble and figure something out, and we're like, you know what? Let's let it go.
Yeah.
And he goes, "I hope I find something good."
In my head canon is like his mom washed the sheets and he's like, I don't want clean sheets.
I lost my signature funk.
Yeah, my imprint.
Yeah, exactly. So we're here in the studio again. We got Javier here. It's
Patreon member, Javier.
Yeah, the OG Patreon member.
cool ass yard duty.
Yeah,
very first one.
First Patreon member, first cool ass yard duty since day one. And I think at this point you might have hosted more shows than Tyler has. It definitely seen more movies than Tyler has.
Oh, definitely.
You stood in for me and you've stood in for Tyler.
Yeah.
Now it's Pete's turn eventually.
Good luck. Pry me out of this chair with my cold dead hands.
Have you ever not been in a show?
No.
No. Okay.
It's funny that we took a week off for Christmas a couple years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, it was not last Christmas, the 2021.
Yeah.
2022 Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And that week I got COVID, and I was fucked up with COVID.
Yeah.
Like I was out. I watched all 13 Hellraiser, 12 Friday the 13th movies
Yeah.
in,
I remember
in
you
36
talking about
hours.
That. Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
The worst
It
Thursday.
made my COVID stupor even worse.
It evolved into super COVID
I know.
because of that.
I got sicker.
Yeah.
But
Now we have a new curse of a movie that we're
Oh, yeah.
all going to be talking about.
yeah, did you watch the Hip Hop Witch?
No, hell no.
Have you
Okay,
heard
good.
of the Hip Hop Witch?
I recently heard of this.
Just this
Okay.
morning when I was
Yeah.
telling him about it.
Okay.
He knocked on the door to the studio, and I was just moaning inside. He's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Oh, the witch got me." But I'll
Got
be,
a finger in my ass.
yeah, I'm gonna pay off the Hip Hop Witch and Loqueesha, which are my 2 punishment movies
I
for the
forgot
week.
about Loqueesha.
Yeah, that was fun. All right, enough pre-gab and chatter. Let's get into some proper gab and chatter.
Find some charity, you lad. Now's the time for gab and chatter.
Gab and chatter, movie news of the week. Javier, lead us off.
Yeah, okay. I'm filling in for Tyler, so I read the article of something, and that's all I did.
Just the headline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're making Happy Gilmore 2. Whoa.
The sequel.
Yeah.
Long awaited.
Happy Gilmore 2, The Reckoning.
Yeah, I
Chubb's
didn't
Revenge.
I didn't read anything about it, so no clue what it's about.
Something to do with maybe some guy named Happy.
Maybe, but who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Adam Sandler, I think, is a part of this one. It's a Happy
would hope so.
Madison production. It'd
Happy
be-
Madison, yeah.
I'm going to
weird if he
assume that
wasn't.
he plays the role of the late, great Carl Weathers as Chubbs.
Yeah.
Or not playing Chubbs himself,
Like
but
the character arc.
yeah, the what's the word? The wise teacher.
Yeah.
The
yeah,
pie
yeah.
maid to his Beatrix kiddo.
Yeah.
Or the Chubs to his happy.
Yeah, or that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one.
What did you say when we were talking about this before? That they were, instead of having Bob Barker, they were gonna have Drew Carey.
Drew Carey.
Oh, Drew Carey.
The Price is Right, bitch. Yeah, Drew Carey. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Is that your actual story?
So that's a half
just
story
fun.
there.
That's just fun.
news.
Something else I wanted to talk about, which happened not too long ago, but Akira Toriyama, who is the creator of Dragon Ball, along with a couple other ones, but Dragon Ball being the most successful, passed away about a month ago. And if you guys aren't aware, Dragon Ball has a really huge cultural impact in the Hispanic and Mexican community for a lot of different reasons.
Do you know why that is? Because I heard that, but I never heard it elaborated on.
So a couple of things. One of them being that Mexico was actually getting those imports sooner than the U.S. And so it was getting to Mexico at a quicker rate. And on top of that, it was just a story that I think a lot of people related to about a character who, whenever they're pushed to their limits and they're all out of options, they somehow find the impossible to do something and break through their limits. And it's just something that I think a lot of people connected with. So much so that when Akira Toriyama passed away, there was a really wild rumor that everyone believed that the Mexican cartel was doing a ceasefire in honor of his death. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Not true?
Lay down your weapons.
So here's the thing. Everyone totally believed it. This Dragon Ball had Mexico in the clutches. So there was a while ago. So they have Dragon Ball Super, which is the latest series. So it's Dragon Ball Z, then Dragon Ball Super.
Okay.
So what Mexico was doing was they were like getting these huge plazas, like similar to a soccer game, and they like
seen
display
that. Outdoor viewing parties.
Yes, they had that for the last season of Dragon Ball. It was a tournament of power, right?
Wow.
And the Japanese government found out and they sent them a cease and assist. And the Mexican government left them on red.
Really?
They played the series finale and then responded with, "We're so sorry, won't happen again. We're not going to do that." They're like, "That was the last episode." They're like, "Oh shit, my bad, dude."
Oh, that's great.
I can't control what you do.
Technically, I think they're legally probably fine in that situation.
It is what it is, but yeah, it's really big in the Hispanic culture.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
You're a DBZ fan.
You know what? I think I'm not like a huge anime fan. I really do love Dragon Ball. It's probably like my go-to anime, and it's super cliched in a lot of ways, but I don't know. It speaks to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I watched a little bit of Dragon Ball growing up because it was always like on like Toonami.
Yeah, it was.
It was always like
Yeah.
it'd always
That's where I
be
went
on
too.
when I would get home from school,
Yeah.
and I'd be like, I'm watching this so I can watch the next thing, and I don't remember the next Ed and Eddie or something. I don't know.
I felt like it was like Aeon Flux or Ghost in the Shell, and then Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
And then they pepper in too many cooks and just really fuck you up.
yeah.
Yeah, but so the ceasefire cartel probably didn't happen, most likely.
No, in fact, the LA Times says there's no evidence that this. In fact, they're advancing. They're using landmines now.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah. Wishful thinking.
Lay down your machetes.
The problem is they don't know how to use them, so they're throwing them like frisbees.
and your desert eagles.
They're like, what if we bury them? We're not going to know where they are later. What if one of our guys blows up? They're like, you know what?
man.
You know what, Medellin, you have a point.
Yeah. I hope they're not watching. They got
people everywhere.
Yeah, well,
they do.
Okay, cool, awesome. Anything else on that?
No, that's it.
All right, perfect. Joseph, what do you have for us?
What do I have for you guys? A couple of things. First, big news for Denis Villeneuve, who's a super hot commodity right now.
Yeah.
Just everybody wants him to make a movie for
Denny's
them.
so hot right now, Denny.
And before, right when Dune Part 2 released, he was saying, I'm not going to make the third Dune right away. I'm going to do these other projects first. He has some other projects in line, like Rendezvous with Rama, which is another science fiction book that he would adapt.
I never heard that.
And then he has a Cleopatra movie I think he wants to do. And most recently, he has this movie called Nuclear War, a Scenario, which is about a world where what happens if nuclear war happens.
Okay. So Fallout?
I think that's also based on a book. But because, I guess, of how hot and how well performed Dune Part 2 did, they're like, it's been greenlit and now it's in development. So Dune Messiah, which is its own book, is officially...
It's
officially happening. Maybe much to Denis' chagrin and how much he didn't want to do it right after Dune Part 2.
You got to ride that sandworm, baby.
I know. And it's crazy how these movies were made because he Denis essentially bet on himself with part one.
Yeah.
In hopes that people would like it enough to then do a part two, and then he did it again with part two.
He was literally it was
to make the third one. Hopefully,
he was Babe Ruth calling a shot in the center field. He's it's going yard. We're going part two.
Yeah, but
that's awesome.
But it's worked in his favor, and now it's happening. So I'm super excited for it. I'm also very worried about it because I've heard the third book is just not as good, not third book. The second book, Dune Messiah, is just not as good as the original.
Yeah.
So in the third one, tell me if you know this. If you don't, it's fine.
I don't.
Okay. Moving on. No, I was gonna say,
let's pontificate though.
Are the characters? Yeah, I know. We're gonna keep the spirit of Tyler alive. Talk about stuff we don't know about.
Yeah.
Take the cheers to that.
Yeah. Very good.
Don't worry about me. I'm not racist.
All right. Thanks, Tyler.
No, are the characters like the same age in the Dune Messiah? Or is
it takes place like 15 years later or something.
So he could wait a little bit.
He could wait a little bit.
Timmy to get that dad bod, instead of the twink bod that he's got right now.
But they've changed the timeline.
Physique.
They changed the timeline for these modern versions, I think, a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Because there are certain things with the characters, like between Paul and Chani, that don't happen in this movie in part two, although it's like alluded to, but I don't know how big of an impact it is in the actual novel, the book itself. So I don't know what they're gonna do or what he's gonna do.
All right.
So I'm like scared because it's the third movie of this already great biology. No, not biology.
Duology. Yeah.
Biology. But so yeah, the third movie, Spider-Man 3 and Dark Knight Rises to a better extent compared to Spider-Man 3.
Can you think of any movies where the third one was actually better like really good?
Iron Man 3 was way better than the second one, but
nowhere near the first one.
I think to me they're pretty close, but I think Iron Man 1 is more of a great standalone on its own.
Yeah.
Third one expands to a very different vibe, but I think it's still pretty good.
That's fair. I think the third MCU Spider-Man was probably one of the better ones.
Oh, No Way Home?
Yeah.
The one with Tobey Maguire where he's dancing.
That's the
clearly the best.
I've heard Guardians 3 is pretty good, but
have you not seen it?
I haven't seen it.
No, I haven't seen it either.
Oh man,
I don't know if it's better than the first one. But
I have a
starter.
I have a list of catch-up movies from last year. Are You There, God It's Me, Margaret, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, John Wick 4, Zone of Interest, Anatomy of a Fall, Killers of the Flower Moon, Suzume, Boy and the Heron, and Kane Mutiny Court Martial. Those are my missed list. So I'll get to it eventually.
Return of the King is
yeah, it's a good call. I still like the first one best.
Yeah, I don't know.
Revenge of the Sith is another.
That's one. Probably the best one out of
Brave Little Toaster 3. Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars.
Is that actually the name?
Surpasses. There is a Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars, but I don't know if it's the third in the series.
Land Before Time 3 was just superior.
Yeah, Littlefoot's Revenge.
Chat, if you know any third movies in a trilogy that are better than the first one, or just better than the second one, or just actually good.
DreamWorks has a really good first one, and the second one being really like almost on par, and then the third one always falling off.
Shrek the third.
Toy Story 3 is pretty good though. Toy Story 3 is
that's not DreamWorks.
That's Pixar.
I thought you were saying Pixar.
No,
he said DreamWorks.
No,
My bad.
So Shrek the third, not good.
How to Train Your Dragon 3 is solid. The whole series is fucking great.
The first two were so much better. That third one kind of fell off a little bit. Kung Fu Panda 3, not that great. They're not horrible. They're just nowhere near.
If you're on a gummy, it's great. In the chat, we have a couple new, not new to us, but new to the live stream. Andrew from Cult of Cinema. Look him up at Cinema with an S, like sinning.
Ooh.
On TikTok's got a great TikTok account, and back catalog for Andrew Watches Movies, another great podcast. And then Heather Sachs, one of our cool ass yard duties.
Oh, what's up, Heather?
Yeah, fellow cool ass yard duty.
Yeah.
And she says that Dune Messiah is 12 years later.
12 years later.
Yeah. 12 years a slave later.
I saw the 12 years later, and I was like, that's not a third movie anywhere.
That's the third of the 12 years a slave movie.
First it was 4 years a slave, 8 years a slave,
and
12 years a slave.
Damn, that was quick math. That was really good.
Yeah, very good.
Quick maths. Okay, so that's exciting stuff. Dune Messiah coming from Denis Villeneuve to complete Paul Atreides' arc.
Yes.
Historic.
I was stoked by that.
I am stoked by that.
Yes.
Jack is not. I don't think he is.
No, he hates that drop.
Yeah. Okay, and I have a game for you guys.
Ooh, okay.
Huzzah.
This is pretty easy. I'm basically just gonna give you 2 movies at a time, and you're gonna tell me if which movie is higher or lower than the other one.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll give you a name of a movie. And
higher or lower on what?
An IMDb rating.
IMDb.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have to tell me the score? You just tell me if it's higher or lower.
Okay. This is just a higher, lower, sort of a 50-50 coin flip.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
And I'll ask both of you. Do you think it's higher? Do you think it's lower? Do you think
Okay.
it's...
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Can you do the buzzer ding
Yeah, sure. I got you.
for me if you got it? All right. First two movies. Is Beetlejuice higher or lower than Edward Scissorhands?
Oh, I feel confident in this.
Or you can just say either of those movies is higher or lower.
You want to do like thumbs up, thumbs down at the same time?
No, just say it.
Oh,
This is
okay.
the audio podcast.
I'm going to say Beetlejuice is lower.
Ooh, I was gonna
On
say
IMDb.
I was gonna say higher. Ooh,
Okay.
IMDb, you're right.
It's IMDb.
I'm thinking Rotten Tomatoes.
Because, yeah, there's different metrics to that. I'm going to say, to me, I'm going to say lower.
Edward Scissorhands.
You're saying,
Okay,
you're
just
saying
go-
Beetlejuice is lower?
Go with your gut instinct.
Beetlejuice is higher.
You're saying Beetlejuice is lower?
Yeah, Beetlejuice is lower
I'm
for
saying
me.
the opposite.
Edward Scissorhands is higher.
This game is fucking rigged. There's no way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, next one is The Batman, the Robert Pattinson Batman, and Batman Begins. Is Batman higher or lower than Batman Begins?
Batman is higher.
The Batman is
the
higher?
Batman?
The Batman
Batman Begins is higher.
Batman Begins
is.
higher.
Damn it.
Yeah, you did a little preemptive there.
Oh, I knew. I knew it. I knew it
Okay.
in my, yeah.
Next
Well, I knew
one.
it.
Different. We're in a different time zone with these scores here on this one. Madam Web or
Okay.
Morbius? Which one is higher?
Ooh. IMDb. IMDb.
Madam Web or Morbius?
They're both
Go ahead.
awful, is what I
You
hear.
guess. You guess.
Madam Web.
I say Morbius higher.
The answer is Morbius is higher.
Oh my fucking
3
God.
for 3, baby.
Who's really keeping track?
Yeah, really.
I'm just gonna throw this up here. Okay, the next one. Interstellar or Oppenheimer? Which one is higher?
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer, I agree.
You would be incorrect.
No way.
Interstellar is higher.
What's the scores?
Interstellar is 8.7. Oppenheimer's 8.3.
Wow.
Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah.
Interstellar won winner of what, 8 awards, Academy Awards, right?
Something
Oh
like
no, that's Oppenheimer, the better
Oh,
movie.
Yeah.
oh goodness.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how many Oscars. Whatever. Okay, next one. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Johnny Depp, Tim Burton, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or Wonka?
Oh God, I think it's Wonka.
I'm gonna say
Wonka's
Wonka.
higher.
Yeah.
The answer is Wonka.
Yeah. Was it even close?
It's a 0.4 difference.
Wow.
7.1 for Wonka, 6.7 for Charlie and the Chocolate
People
Factory.
enjoyed the Charlie one.
It's fucking weird.
It is, yeah.
It's weird.
I think that it gets unfairly shit upon. The first time I watched it, I hated it. I watched it again. I'm like, okay, he actually wants these children dead, which
Yeah.
is what I appreciated about the first one.
He is
The
a
original-
sociopath.
The original Gene Hackman, yeah. He's a sociopath, like a true sociopath with real daddy issues, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, are you referring? Oh, never mind. Okay. Next one. Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner, Ridley Scott's Blade Runner, or
Blade Runner 2049.
Blade Runner 2049.
2049. I'm going 2049. Even though it should be Blade Runner.
I think it's the
2049.
opposite. I think the original Blade Runner is higher, and I think the second one should be higher.
No. I totally agree. I think the second one is a better
one.
movie.
Okay, cool.
I do think what Blade Runner did,
Mhm.
it deserves its credits.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so you're saying the original.
2049.
Oh, you're saying the new one is higher,
I'm saying it's higher.
and you're
I'm
saying
saying the original is higher.
The answer is the original is higher.
By
0.1.
Oh, man.
8.1 and 8 for Blade Runner 2049.
You think
Wow.
you think Denny saw that and was just like, just fuck yourself?
Yeah. So close, Denis. So close. It is a better movie, in my opinion.
I agree.
All right, next one. This is an interesting pairing. Bullet Train or Deadpool 2?
I really hope it's Bullet.
I like how
Bullet
you
Train.
pick these movies and you're like, here's a good one. I do that too. I'm like, get ready for this one. I say Deadpool 2. I'm not confident about that.
I feel like it's Bullet. I feel like that was like a sleeper. People expected it to be stupid and actually
I like-
found it to
I
be
like
so
Bullet
much
Train
fun.
a lot.
Deadpool 2?
No, Bullet Train.
I'm saying Bullet Train.
No, I'm okay, whatever.
Wait, the answer is Deadpool 2?
No, I'm just that's what you're talking about.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
No. I was
So you're saying
Deadpool 2.
you're saying Deadpool 2
Deadpool 2.
is higher.
Yeah.
Bullet Train. Joseph is pointing at
Yeah,
me.
I'm pointing at it.
Bullet Train.
Bullet Train. Deadpool 2 is higher.
This game. I don't think I've gotten a right one.
You did? You got one
Yeah,
right.
Which one? The Charlie one. The Wonka.
Yeah, Wonka.
But we both
I
got
got
that right.
Okay. The next one, The Lighthouse or The Witch?
Which one's higher?
Ooh,
The
wow,
Lighthouse.
that's a tough one. Lighthouse or The Witch?
I think it's The Lighthouse.
I want to say The Witch.
The answer is The Lighthouse.
Ooh.
I'm coming back.
7.4. And The Witch is at 7.
Oh, wow.
So close.
I like the Lighthouse better.
Yeah.
I should just go with that next time.
Okay. Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, or The Suicide Squad, this James Gunn Suicide Squad.
Oof.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
I was going to say that too, but just to make sure there's a little imbalance here, I'm going to go.
Oh, there's already
the
an imbalance.
Suicide
Don't
Squad.
worry.
Yeah.
You're saying Suicide Squad?
The Suicide?
The Suicide
The
Squad.
Suicide Squad, yes.
It is Guardians of the Galaxy is higher.
I felt that, but was
Okay, next one. Coco, Pixar's Coco,
Okay.
and Ratatouille.
I was going to say Coco automatically, but Ratatouille.
Easy
I think it's
Ratatouille for me.
but if you're going Ratatouille, I have to go Coco.
The answer is Coco.
Damn it.
8.4. Ratatouille.
Wait, that was me? I got it? I was so expecting the defeat.
Ratatouille is 8.1.
Wow.
Yes. Thank you for playing. That's all I have.
Who won?
I didn't keep track.
We'll never know.
Well, sitting in the Tyler chair, he's known to lose a lot of
Yeah,
trivia,
you're cursed.
movie-related games.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't watch movies.
You're drunk.
But yeah, that's all I have.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Let's see. What do we have? I was going to talk about Gladiator 2, but I don't really want to get into that because I have new movies that I watched this week that I really wanted to spend some time talking about. I'll just give you a very quick rundown and you guys can look it up yourself. But the original script for Gladiator 2 was going to be written by Nick Cave of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
The musician.
Who was the screenwriter for The Proposition.
Yes.
And then the screenwriter for Lawless with Tom Hardy and Shia LaBeouf. And at the time, Nick had only had one screenplay to his name. It was like something about some civil battle or something like that. And Russell Crowe and him are both Australian. They're both pals. And after Gladiator 1 was such a success, Crowe came to him and said, hey, you want to write the sequel? And Nick Cave said, didn't you die in the first one? And he goes, yeah, you'll figure it out. And basically gave him carte blanche. And he wrote one called Gladiator 2 Christ Killer, where Russell Crowe's character of Maximus Meridius, Decimus Iridius or whatever, gets resurrected from the dead, goes up, ascends up to Elysium while he's dead, and he meets with all the gods from various different religions, the demigods of Greek culture, and then there's Christ figures in there as well. And basically all of those demigods up there are dying because people starting to believe in Jesus Christ as this God. And they send him back to Earth to kill Jesus.
Wow.
What?
That was the plot of Gladiator 2.
Is that, and so Jesus is the bad guy or who's the bad guy in this?
I think at this point,
God.
depending on your relationship or your religion, is Maximus is the bad guy. He's the Terminator.
He's an anti-hero.
He's the Terminator coming back to kill Jesus. And I guess that's supposed to put into effect all of the events of the Christ figure.
Christ
Yeah.
movie.
By dying for our sins and whatnot.
Yeah.
We got this hippie down here healing people. Take him out.
Yeah. Like people are believing in him, not us, like Zeus and Odin and stuff. We need to get rid of this Jesus figure.
I see.
Because it's like Tinkerbell. If you don't believe, they die.
Yeah. I do believe in fairies.
And the funny thing was, in the X-Men Origins Wolverine, where him and Sabretooth go back in time and they fight in all the historic battles and they're like in the Civil War and
World War
Vietnam.
II and stuff like that.
The last 20 minutes of this movie is that, and it's Maximus. He's immortal at this point. And he goes back and fights
everyone.
all the battles from Christ all the way up until Korean War and
So he's
everything.
fighting Jesus.
He kills Jesus, and then he's out for blood.
Wow.
This sounds like it's fake. You can download the PDF. You can
It's
read.
written.
You can read that.
It's done.
It's done.
Wow.
And then he gave it to Ridley Scott and Russell Crowe, and they both said, "Yeah, not a fan, mate." And they said no, but we appreciate.
I wonder why.
They said we really actually like it as its own original piece of fiction or its own screenplay, but not in the Gladiator ethos.
That would make no sense.
I think it's fucking great. I would have loved that.
So
So
we need
anyway,
some of those Gravitas Venturas production company to make that script.
yeah, absolutely.
So we're not talking about that.
No, we're not. That's basically
No, we're not going to talk about it.
That's it. So I'll put a link to the PDF in the show notes so you can download it and read it yourself. I sent a copy of it, a link to Eric Holmes, and because I know he's a big script guy, he likes reading scripts in kind of his free time. He's a writer, and he said, "Oh, I read this years ago because this was in like 2001, like right after Gladiator came out, and they were like looking for the sequel."
Yeah,
and so it's not like it's a new thing, but it's more recently been available as a PDF, so you can read it. And he says, "Yeah, it's a good."
And with Gladiator 2, coming out,
Gladiator 2 coming out, it's funny to comparison to see the two.
We could have had.
We're so close to greatness. Okay, in lieu of any actual news stories or in-depth conversation, I want to talk about 2 new movies. First one, Joseph and I both saw, Monkey Man, Dev Patel's directorial debut.
Yeah. Big on monkey content right now. We got Kong and Godzilla, Monkey Man, and then the Planet of the Apes movies coming out.
That's true. And then we have Monkey Man, and then Dog Man by Luc Besson is coming out. Weird parody there.
Another animal man.
And then we have Ghostbusters Frozen Empire and Godzilla X Kong A New Empire.
Oh.
What the fuck?
What's going on here?
I know. What is happening?
And then we have a kingdom. Yeah, we have the kingdom of the planet of the fallen of the apes and
all those things. Yeah. So let's talk about Monkey Man. You saw it last night, Joseph. So did I.
Yes, we saw Monkey Man, and it was like a John Wick light. A little bit. I've only seen the first John Wick movie, and I think this movie takes, I don't want to say it like rips off John Wick or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's definitely like a strong debut for Dev Patel to just come out with this is like action movie.
Kind of feels a little like opposite of what he's known for.
Yeah, which is, I know him really from Slumdog Millionaire, Lion, and
The Green Knight.
Yes, The Green Knight.
He just is, he what I think of him when I think of Dev Patel is like a very charismatic person that you're like drawn into and you care intensely about him, regardless of if he's a villain or a hero or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know, he just seems very charismatic. And there's a lot of talk about the new Bond, and his name was thrown about a few times about potentially being a new Bond.
Yeah.
And after watching Monkey Man, I'm like, if him not getting Bond means we get more movies like this from him, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
But it would have been really cool because seeing him in this, he's this ass-kicking, not very suave and debonair, but near the end, he puts on that affront.
Yeah. He gets more confidence.
Yeah. And to me, it felt like a mix between...
He inhales the spice.
It reminded me of a mix between like Ong Bak and John Wick. Have you guys seen Ong Bak?
No.
No.
Ong Bak.
The elephant movie.
No, that's The Protector, which is Ong Bak 3.
Oh, okay.
It's not really Ong Bak 3. It's like Ong Bak. The Protector came out after that, which is featuring Tony Jaa, essentially playing the same character, but not named the same thing. And then Ong Bak 2 after that.
Right.
And Ong Bak is like the Muay Thai warrior is a subtitle for it. And he's basically the guy that brought Muay Thai to America. That's the thing. He was like, when it was like Jet Li was a big name, Jackie Chan was a big name. And then all of a sudden, this new guy came out of nowhere, Tony Jaa. And he was throwing fucking elbows at people and jumping on your head like a monkey and stuff. And the power of Muay Thai was like this whole thing. And I remember watching it 2004 or something like that, like right around when it came out. And I had a friend that was into MMA. And we worked together at Best Buy, and he put me in a sleeper hold, literally put me to sleep on the floor. Whoa. Yeah, on accident. It wasn't an accident for him. I didn't know it was going to happen. So he's telling me all about Ong Bak, and I'm like, okay, this guy's the real deal. Fucking put me to sleep.
Yeah.
He knows his stuff. I'm going to watch Ong Bak. And it's a really cool movie. And he's from a small village, and the plot of that one is some people break into the village and they steal their giant Buddha statue that they worship in their village, and it's in Thailand. In this one, essentially, Dev Patel's character is out for revenge against the Indian government, which bulldozed his ancestral village.
Yeah, Holy Land.
Holy Land, yeah, which is basically just a small village in the jungle. So it's like a little RRR because they have that grassroots, like folk hero aspect to it. But he's not known. He's essentially channeling the idea of this lore of a monkey man who is he had superpowers imbued on him from the gods, and he jumped up to the high canopy of the forest to eat a mango, but he grabbed the sun and ate the sun, and the gods punished him by taking away his powers. And that was a story that his mom read to him as a kid. And then flash forward, he's an adult, and you don't know why, but essentially you find out he's getting retribution for the Indian government taking over his land and killing his people.
And it's not super clear as if like he was out for blood this whole time, or is it just like he stumbled upon
an opportunity?
An opportunity to do it, because there's that whole scene where they steal the purse, and then he ends up with it, and then
I think it's always been his driving factor to get to that point.
yeah,
But
because he's just been like in a like to make money. He just is like the fall guy in a underground boxing or like fighting matches.
yeah, and the first time before I saw it, I watched half of the trailer and was like, all right, I'm in. I'm not gonna finish it.
Yeah.
And you see a picture of him with this monkey head, and I thought it was like a superhero. He turns into a monkey.
That's what I thought too. I saw that image,
and
I
it
was
turns
like,
out it's just a rubber mask. He wears it like a luchador. And in his boxing match, right, he's the monkey man, and he's fighting against like the cobra, and
he's like the villain.
Yeah, he's like this villain, and he's great character played by the ringmaster,
Charlton Copley,
played by Charlton Copley, and he's great in everything, but he's particularly fantastic in this. This is grimy, seedy, like a underground boxing like magnate, and I think I agree with you, Joseph. I think that as a directorial debut, it's very good. The direction of the action was good. When the action's happening and the fighting is happening, it was very easy to follow, and it was very fun and energetic the way it was shot. But
kind of I felt bored sometimes.
yeah, there was some long lulls where you're like, okay, I could use for a little something, a little zhuzh to get me to the next big set piece.
Was it like story beats that or like fights that were boring?
No, the fights were never boring.
The action sequences were cool. Sometimes it felt choreographed. Like you could, I feel like I could see the choreography a little bit.
Oh, I see.
Like they're doing things that you've seen in other movies. Like they take a tray and then like they hit it to the guy's throat. And there was a little bit of lacking in sound design.
I agree with that too.
I didn't feel like the punches or the hits super well.
Sound design is huge
for fight scenes.
Yeah.
And there were some sequences that we did because we did an action.
I was gonna say you shot like an action scene. So do you have any perspective on that? Because that was a challenge and a half.
They felt
you were there too, Pete.
Yeah. They felt
I was
like
Gumper.
Honestly, it like reminded me of shooting that.
Yeah.
There were some scenes where I was like, oh, we did that, like camera following around and like doing like a one take type thing.
Yeah.
Which is not like an uncommon thing to do in like these kinds of movies, but it felt, because it's more, I don't want to say it's an indie movie. It's Monkey Paw, which is Jordan Peele's company.
Yeah.
But it had that indie vibe to it in terms of shooting these action sequences. And it was just it lulled a little bit too much.
I see.
Definitely in the beginning, it took a second to get going. And then when he ends up in that, I don't want to say it's a monastery, but it's like a church or something where he's being healed.
Yeah.
It was like, I was like, okay, so let's get to the next part.
Yeah, you're shown in flashback the trauma that he's basically in very small segments about the trauma that he's experienced in his past life, and his mother's basically the crux of it all. You assume that she's been killed. You see the whole event start to finish, like a short narrative when he gets beat up really bad, and the whole point of it is he's trying to go and infiltrate this tower. This almost, imagine Arkham City, where all the bad guys hang out and all the crooked politicians are too. Those sort of club, but it's a tower.
You have to go up and to get promoted to a waiter to then be allowed to go into the sex club part of the.
Yeah, and then you have to be able to get into the VIP club above the sex club, and then only the thumbprint of the queen bee gets you to the penthouse.
Yeah.
So it was like a video game, also like The Raid, also like Ong Bak 2, which is another tower ascent.
Dread.
Dread. Yeah. And he's trying to get up to the top because the chief of police is supposedly the big bad that killed his mom. But you see the whole story when he's beaten the first time. He almost gets to the top, he's beaten, and he goes to revive himself at this monastery or whatever. And he trains there. And that part was a little unbelievable just because no one there is training him. He's just basically punching a punching bag, which is basically a bag of rice for days on end.
It feels like the passage of time is like months or something.
Yeah.
Because like,
he gets super yoked after that.
He inhales the spice. He becomes a Duke of Arrakis, and then he's training with the guy with the percussion instruments.
I like that.
They're like doing like a Guitar Hero thing. Where it becomes a rhythm game.
It's similar to that scene in Hero when they have the flat guitar player and they're visualizing their fight.
Yeah. So I imagine it's like months because like all of a sudden he becomes really confident and better at fighting.
Yeah, he goes back to his boxing match and one kicks the guy, beats him, turns into Brad Pitt from Lock, Stock, Snatch.
The after that, the kitchen, when he walks into that kitchen fight scene was really well done. That was like probably like one of the better fight sequences in the whole thing. It was funny when it's like there's a fight scene in a kitchen, like that, like a restaurant kitchen. Because
I feel like that's a subgenre, kitchen fight scenes.
Kitchen fight scenes,
I'll
like
have to make a compilation.
Like Tenet has one.
Yeah.
This one has one. It's because there's all these instruments around you that you can use, like pans and the microwave lid and the door and everything.
And very rarely does knives get involved in kitchen fight scenes for some reason.
No,
like commercial kitchens.
Oh, also elevator fight scene. That was great.
Yep, that was good
with the knives.
Yeah, a lot of really good fight sequence, and it's not a bad movie by any stretch. I don't think it's a bad movie. I don't think it's a fantastic movie. I think it's very good. I'm bordering 3.5, 4 stars. Certain scenes, if you think of it as an action movie and cut out a lot of the slower lulls, it's like a 4-star action movie.
It could have been. It was a little long.
Yeah, it was
cut down like 10, 15
I was
minutes.
gonna ask, how long was this?
2 hour, 1 minute. 2 hours, 1 minute.
Yeah.
And it would have been fine if maybe there's a few more characters to care about, but it's really just him. And then there's this girl who's like a call girl for the big bads, and he doesn't know her beforehand, but he meets her through, and he's like, they
relate.
You
somehow.
really want to do blah, blah, blah. I like the bit about the dog because you're like, oh, is he just showing that he's a nice guy feeding this stray dog?
Yeah.
And then he uses the dog as a tool later, which I won't say because it's a pretty good reveal. But yeah, for a first directorial feature, I thought it was great.
He wrote it too, right?
Story only.
I think so.
Story,
yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, he was accredited for the story. Writers for it was John Coley, who I don't recognize the name. He was for Master and Commander, Boy Swallows Universe, Hotel Mumbai, and then Paul Angunuela, and he did nothing that I've heard of before.
But yeah, Dev Patel, because he directed and starred it, and he suffered
a lot of
injuries on this movie.
Oh, really?
He broke his hand,
no shit,
and his toes shooting these scenes, and so it was a lot of literal blood, sweat, and tears went into this, and it's definitely like you can tell. I feel like that he like cared a lot about the project
for sure,
and like really wanted to do this. So
I will say
I'm glad that
settings were great too.
I'm glad that there was not many people in my theater.
No,
when I saw it.
I admittedly did a very late showing at an 11 p.m. showing last night, and it was one person in the theater with me.
Oh, wow.
So it was literally me and one other guy in this whole theater. It was great.
And this was like, it was at a much later showing, but it was screening at like the bigger theater or the bigger screen at the theater in Sacramento. Not like IMAX level, but like better sound, better quality, like slightly better than standard.
Yeah.
Which I didn't see it because it was just too late.
Andrew Martin in the chat says that if he saw it in a Dolby Atmos, it probably would have fixed that audio kind of longing, because Dolby Atmos, he said he still felt the punch of the, which I saw Dune 2 in Atmos first. I think probably the first movie I've seen in Atmos, and goddamn, that sound was percussive.
Yeah.
I could feel it in my guts.
Loosen the kidney stone.
Grade on Monkey Man?
Probably like a B+.
I probably right around there.
Yeah.
I'm anywhere between a 3.5 and a 4 star. I'll watch it again at home when it's in my home theater, so I can control the volume a little bit.
Has you had this experience recently where you're in a theater and they just don't turn the lights off all the way?
Yes, I've had that.
It's like the lights is still on. I can tell that it's on.
My big pet peeve is the green exit signs.
Yeah.
If you sit too far back and you have this green exit signs on either side of you just glaring, I'm like, can you put a cheesecloth over those or something?
Yeah.
Mine is when the theater next door starts rumbling your.
Oh, really?
Theater. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't get that very. That's funny. I
Yeah,
don't know.
really?
Yeah.
I've like zone of interest that happened for me. Like just hearing, I forget what it was. I think they were like redoing Oppenheimer because it was nominated.
Yeah.
And it was just fucking up that theater.
Wow.
I can imagine. But yeah, that's what happened to me recently in the theater. And like the lights are like half dimmed. And I'm like, I feel like I'm just in my house with the lights on. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, that's annoying.
I don't feel immersed.
I agree.
All right, Monkey Man, I would say it's probably a good one to see in theater if you're on the fence, just for the supportive feature of go show Dev Patel some love, because the dude's a G and doing a directorial debut. Give it some money. See if we can make another one.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I saw myself, Joseph did not see this. Javier, did you see The First Omen?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Have you seen the actual First Omen back in the 70s or whatever?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen any of them.
So I've watched the original Omen.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched the remake Omen, which was released on June 6th, 2006.
I remember this.
Yeah.
666,
Yeah,
right?
it was Liev Schreiber and Julia Stiles, I think. I think those are the two leads.
Julia Goulian.
Yeah. And the first Omen was legitimately great and creepy and scary and stuff like that. More creepy than scary. The second one, the remake, was more or less like not a quite shot for shot remake, but a very straight ahead, true to the original remake.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about, the originals were a couple who lose their child at birth, and then they are given a child from the church, and they basically raise it as their own child, and it's Damien. And lo and behold, it's the son of Satan.
Yeah.
Son of Satan.
Yeah, son of Satan.
You're a what? Who? The son of Satan?
Yeah, so... Yeah, big oof. I get the son of Satan is my new adopted child. Huh? So this is a prequel to that. So this is set in the 70s in Rome. And you're following Sister Margaret, who's just a young wannabe nun, would-be nun, who's about there to take her final vows to get into the nunhood or whatever they call it. And she basically goes into this convent, which is an orphanage. And she was born in an orphanage. She was raised in an orphanage in America. And then the father that was at that orphanage is now overseeing this orphanage in Italy, who's played by Bill Nighy, which is great. He was great in this. And a very small role for him, but he plucks her up and says, hey, how about you take your vows in Italy? It's great. It's in Rome. It's beautiful. You can have me here like your father figure. And this is what a better place. And she goes there, and it's another orphanage, and it's all these old nuns, and it's a lot of crossover with Immaculate.
When you said Italy, I was
very similar, very similar, except for this one actually is a period piece, where the other one just feels like a period piece. So she goes there, and instead of taking care of old people like in Immaculate, they're taking care of young children, young girls. And there is one particularly disturbed girl there, Clarita, I think.
There always
her name
is.
Yeah,
There's always one.
And they're like, oh, why is she in the room by herself in the middle of the day, and she's drawing these dark drawings with a black crayon on the ground and stuff, and you're like, oh, she's the one. And there's this Ralph Ineson plays a pastor from like the Catholic, or maybe not the Catholic Church, maybe from a different denomination, because he's not part of this group. He's like a different group. And he comes up out of nowhere, and he is playing a direct version of the main pastor character from the original Omen.
Oh, I see.
And the casting is fucking phenomenal, because if you see the two side by side, they look great.
Yeah.
But no one sounds like Ralph Ineson. So his sultry, gurgling low voice is so satisfying. And he's basically trying to tell her, you got to watch out for this girl. She's bad stuff. You know, you're in danger. And all the stuff from the original Omen, I feel like they upped a level. So there's the classic scene where they're at the birthday party at this rich people's house, and the housekeeper says, "It's all for you, Damien." And then
she hangs themselves.
Yeah.
she jumps off of the second or third story with a noose around her neck.
Okay, so I have seen the original.
Yeah. Chokes herself and then swings through and smashes through the lower level glass.
Yeah.
And all the children see it. Damien's just staring up at her and stuff. And everyone.
So this is a remake.
No, this is a prequel to that.
Pre-requel?
I think it's just a straight prequel.
Prequel. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So someone else does that?
So one of the nuns in this, fast forward 30 seconds, and if you don't want any spoilers, 100%. But no, one of the nuns does that, except for she lights herself on fire first. So she's up there and she goes, "It's all for you," and then lights herself on fire, and then just screaming to death and jumps off and smashes through the lower story window.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
And you're like, damn, and then she's just hanging there on fire, nun on fire. And you're like, damn, nun's on fire.
This nun is on fire.
Yeah, exactly. And then that weird Alicia Keys song, Music Sting.
I love that. They're like, what are we going to do? The original did this. Let's set her on fire.
Let's set her on fire.
Yeah.
This bitch is going to be on fire. Yeah.
Man.
And there's a pretty good use of practical effects in this. Because the idea is that Lucifer has spawned with a human and brings their child to the earth. In this is the step before that, because Damien it's a prequel, so it's not like a spoiler. They're creating Damien in this movie so it can be set up for the original Omen.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
Yeah. And at the end of this movie, the baby is given off, and they're like, we're going to take, and they show the picture of the original family, and they're like, yeah, this is a senator in the United States, and they're going to have an accident with their baby, quote unquote, and then we're going to give him this one, and they're going to raise it up as the Antichrist. Mm-hmm. And his name is Donald J. Trump. And and so it all leads to that, where it's going. It's a prequel, so it's like watching the Titanic movie. What's going to happen, but all the stuff.
You see where it's going to go.
Yeah, you see where it's going to go, but it doesn't matter. And This is fantastically acted by the lead actress. I didn't catch her name. Let me see here if I can get it. It was a completely new one. I'd never heard of her before. First Omen. She is, what is her name? Where is it? Nell
Neil Breen.
Nell Tiger Free.
Wow.
Nell Tiger Free.
Nell Tiger
What a
Free.
powerful name.
A three-part name. Nell Tiger Free. Yeah.
Tiger.
Tiger.
Wow.
Tiger Free. Nell Tiger Free. So she's the main character. She plays Margaret. Ralph Ineson as Father Brennan. Sonia Braga as Sister Silva, who's like another young nun who's about to take her oath. Taufik Boram, who's a young Father Gabriel. Maria Caballero as Luce. I'm sorry, Luce is the young nun. Mm-hmm. And then Charles Dance also is in this as Father Harris. He's another like high up father in this fucked up coven.
Charles Dance, the Last Action Hero villain and Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's 180 degrees, you twit.
I just shot somebody.
And I did it on purpose.
Do you need to, can you go into this blind or do you
Yes.
need to watch The Omen?
No, I don't think you need to watch it at all. If you were to watch this first and then watch The Omen, I think you might look back at it and go, okay, The Omen's got a little bit less teeth on it. The other thing too that I really liked about this was that they don't hold back on the grotesque.
Okay.
They don't cut away from the grotesque. There is a very graphic birthing scene.
Nice.
That does not cut away
Hell.
very much at all. And a very graphic cesarean section scene that does
I'm
not.
about to have the hardest boner right now.
Yeah. And it's not a secret. They're trying to mate Lucifer or the beast with a human.
Yeah.
Oh.
But they do it in
Matchmaker.
they do it in a very literal sense in this.
Like an actual beast.
And there's like this demon claw that comes out a few times in this. Maybe it's a vision, maybe it's not a vision, and you see it, and the look of it is so good. It's like wet and gray and like scaly, and it looks so good.
Sounds good.
It is. It's way better than I thought it was going to be. The other thing I do like about it too is that there's 70s kind of, you think of The Exorcist, that 70s horror vibe. There's a lot of like wide shots where characters walking into frame.
Oh,
and
so
then
they
it
went the
sets up.
holdovers route and they just emulate the 70s.
There is a little bit of that, yeah, because in the First Omen. Not the First Omen. This is called the First Omen. This is really confusing. In the original Omen.
There you go.
Yeah, the original Omen. There's a number of like accidents that happen around people around Damien, and things fall off of construction sites and towers, and people get killed in spectacular fashion. And they emulate those, not just the setup, but also the look of the shot. It's hard to explain, but when you look at it, you're like, oh, that's a 70s shot.
Yeah.
Wide zoom ins on parts.
70s cinema.
Yeah, so it had a good like reverence for the original format, I think. All that being said, I thought it was pretty great. I think that Immaculate and this are, to me, on the same level. They're both 4-star movies, but in very different ways. Immaculate's more of a moody, creepy tone sort of movie with just a really fantastic setting and lighting, where this one has a little bit more in-your-face sort of shock stuff.
It's more paranormal, and because you have demons in this world as opposed to Immaculate, where it's just like,
yeah. And in Immaculate, you're looking for the payoff shot at the end, and you don't quite get it. In this one, they don't hold back. I'll just put it that way. So that's the First Omen. I give it an A. Yeah, it's an A, maybe an A-, because there's some slow parts in there where you're waiting for something to happen, and you're like, okay, I don't care about this human character or storyline, but then it does come back, and then the setup for it is, I think, probably A- because of the predictability of it, because there's a number of things where you're like, oh, is this going to happen? Of course it's going to happen. And it takes a little bit too long to get to that inevitability in the story and the plot. So
right.
What would you rate The Omen?
The original Omen, probably B+.
Nice.
It's been a long time since I've seen it B+. Some of the older movies don't really land with me, but yeah, pretty damn solid. And Andrew says he's 4 out of 5 also with
Monkey Man.
The First Omen.
No, Monkey Man.
Oh, with Monkey Man?
I'm pretty sure. He started talking about it.
Okay, cool.
That came up when you were talking about it.
He says the hip hop witch is in The First Omen. She's the one that gave birth to the witch. Speaking of which,
Speaking of The Witch,
let's get to some streaming picks.
Movies.
Wanna watch a movie?
Yes, I do.
Disney Plus, HBO Max.
If I don't get the pick, show's over.
I have grown accustomed to Hulu Plus.
Amazon Prime.
I like Netflix.
Streaming picks, movies that we watched on our streaming services this week that you can too. Javier, you got streaming picks for us?
I sure do. So this is a movie that I tried watching when I was younger that didn't stick with me, that I rewatched as an adult. And I don't know, I'm able to appreciate it a lot more. And that's Goodwill Hunting on on just Max now.
On Max now, yeah.
Yeah. I think the first time I tried watching it, I was in my early 20s and it didn't stick with me. I think I just wasn't mature enough for it, honestly. I was like, oh, this handsome looking dude who's fucking smart, who wrote himself to be a really smart character.
Yeah.
And they're sad.
Yeah.
Like it didn't really click for me. And I think just living life a little bit more and understanding what the story is actually about. And it's not this person who's just really, really smart. It's someone who's gifted and being on this path of people forcing them to go somewhere maybe they don't want to go. And yeah, I thought it was a fucking great movie with great performances.
That's so funny you say that. That was going to be my next Wheel movie.
Oh yeah,
Oh really?
I have a Wheel
I haven't
movie
seen
list.
it, so.
Oh okay.
You haven't seen Goodwill Hunting?
It's going on the Wheels.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
I've only seen it via Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
That's right. You know
They're
what?
making the sequel.
Real talk, like the minute, like because they basically like it's a parodied scene. I was like, dude,
Yeah.
this is so fucking
With Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, it's really really good. Aside from that, so that's on Max.
Great, awesome.
As I mentioned, Akira Toriyama passed away, so I've been watching some Dragon Ball again.
Rest in peace.
So there's actually on the flight over, I watched the Broly movie because it's the plane ride over.
Dragon
And I love-
Ball Super Broly.
Yeah, the one that you guys watched for the show. Just the
Surprised the hell out of me. I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did.
Laser.
Yeah. A stray laser killed your father.
yeah, I think it's so much fun, and just like when the action starts, it does not stop, and really really enjoyable. On top of that, they have Dragon Ball Super : Superhero.
Dragon Ball Superhero. Okay.
Yeah, which that one's not as good, but it's really enjoyable. If you like Dragon Ball Z, specifically the Cell Saga, this will likely speak to you a little bit. So yeah, those are the 3 movies that I watched.
Nice. Where are the 2 Dragon Ball streaming again?
Funimation.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay.
Funimation.
Great. Joseph, you have real streaming picks, and then you join me with some punishments.
Oh, I like joining with one of them.
Let's do the end.
Okay. Okay, so I have an interesting mix of stream picks. So I watched this movie called streaming on Tubi and Peacock and Pluto. And it's starring Ralphie from Christmas Story.
Oh, Peter Billingsley.
And this is made after Christmas Story. This is called The Dirt Bike Kid. And it's essentially Herbie, like Herbie Fully Loaded.
Okay.
We have a sentient dirt bike.
Oh, sweet.
That befriends Ralphie. I don't know his actual name. His character's name.
I'll look it up for you. Dirt Bike Kid.
Dirt Bike Kid. And there's no real explanation as to why this dirt bike is sentient other than this random old man who shows up at the beginning and the end of the movie and explains to some other random kid how special the bike is.
That's at the end?
No, it's at the beginning and end. So like
Okay.
when the bike is introduced and at the end when everyone's like celebrating that they saved the hot dog stand.
Okay. What? All right.
This old man shows up to talk to this other random kid who's, man, I wish I had a dirt bike like that. And he's, that's a very special dirt bike, son. Made for someone very special. And that's the only context you're given for the dirt bike itself.
Okay.
Was there any context in Herbie?
I don't know. I've only seen Fully Loaded with Lindsay Lohan.
It was the hip hop witch.
Oh, yeah, it was the witch.
Curse the slug bug.
She's been around for centuries.
Yeah.
It's mostly fun, but it gets boring to watch towards the end. You're just, okay, I get it now. Let's end this. And the plot is there's this bank in town run by this. It's a local bank, and this guy wants to take over the location of the hot dog stand so he can build his next bank.
So there really is a hot dog
It's a hot dog stand. It's called like Hot Dog Mike's or the Dog House or something like that.
Okay.
I can't remember. And it's like this. The logo is like this extra long like wiener dog sitting in a bun with mustard on the back of the wiener dog. Like that premise is hilarious to me. So we gotta save the hot dog stand. Where are we gonna hang out? We can't go anywhere else and hang out. It has to be.
Well,
at
he wants to go to.
at the hot dog
We
stand.
just want us to go to Golden Corral and hang out.
Yeah. I don't even know if that exists in this universe. I don't
That's where the kids in my hometown would hang out, the Golden Corral.
Golden Corral.
Which Brianna says sounds like a strip club.
It really does. Yeah.
$2 gentleman special at the Golden Corral every Wednesdays and Thursdays.
And Ralphie is living with his mom, who's a single mom, and
Ralphie.
she has $0. She gives him her last $50 bill to go buy groceries.
Okay.
And he comes back with the bike.
Oh my God.
And she's like,
Dumb and Dumber all over.
She's like, what are the groceries? That was my last $50. I'm like, you have $0? You have $0 at this point.
Yeah.
And they live in this like 2-story house, and they have a separate garage. He's got a almost like a tree house type thing. He climbs down from his window.
Fresh sneakers
And-
New Era hat.
I'm like, there's a lot of stuff you could sell here that you could get some money if you're that desperate for money. But the evil banker wants to take over the hot dog location to build his bank, and
I'm confused.
there's like a money thing involved, obviously. Where if I do this, the board that I'm trying to pitch this to will give me like $15 million or something like that.
Is this a hot dog stand or a hot dog?
Like a restaurant.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was expecting like a guy with like
Oh,
a
hot
car.
dog. No, it's like a restaurant.
They're all like hanging out by this guy's car.
Yeah.
Where we gonna hang out?
Yeah, and the coach of the baseball team that Ralphie is on is the owner. He's Mike or whatever his name is.
Mike, you got it right.
He owns the hot dog
His
stand.
character is Jack, by the way, not Ralphie.
Oh, Jack. Okay, but yeah, the end is like totally like kids movie. It's definitely like geared to kids.
What was your deciding factor for this movie to watch it?
The name?
Okay.
And the fact that Ralphie was in it.
You're like, oh, it's the prequel to Turbo Kid.
Because
Sweet.
I've never seen, other than the sequel to Christmas Story, the newer one.
Yeah.
The only other movie I've seen him in is Christmas Story.
Have you seen Elf?
But he's not really in that. He's in it. Yeah, he's in it, but he's not in it.
He's in Spider-Man 2. No,
Is he?
MCU Spider-Man 2.
Who is he in Spider-Man 2? And he's Spider-Man 2.
He's also in Iron Man 1. He's the guy who's, we can't do it. And then, what's his name? Jeff Bridges like, Tony Stark did this in a cave. And
Oh, is that him?
yeah, Ralphie says, I'm not Tony Stark. What do you want me to do about it?
Are you sure that's him? Really?
That's it. Look it
Oh,
up.
wow,
It's
interesting.
him. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool.
Look it up.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, now I know. I have seen more movies with him. But this is starring him. This is starring Ralphie.
Starring the Peter Billingsley.
Yeah. So that's streaming on Peacock. It's an afternoon movie or midday movie for sure on a Sunday maybe.
Folding your socks time movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a silly time, and the end is silly as well.
All right.
It's ridiculous ending. Whatever. The next movie I watched streaming on Hulu is a horror thriller mystery movie called I'm Just Fucking With You.
Never heard of that.
It's very indie. And basically, it's about this guy who's on his way to a wedding, and he stops by this motel to stay a night or a couple nights before going to the wedding. And this all takes place over one night. And the guy who's running the hotel, he's this taller. He reminds me of TJ Miller a little bit in terms of his appearance.
Okay.
But he's taller, like a little bit more like husky.
All right.
And he's got like these aviator like prescription glasses on. So he has a Dahmer-esque look to him.
Okay, he's got the big rapist glasses.
But he's like,
Okay.
the whole time he's like telling jokes that are like, you're not sure if he's joking or not. And he just,
And he says his catchphrase, I'm just fucking with you.
that's where the movie comes from. The name
really?
comes from. And the pranks or the jokes just keep getting more and more questionable to like, what are his intentions? Is he like, he's like kind of creepy. That's like his vibe, but you're like still with the main character. He's like, I don't know, this guy's like kind of sus. And then it gets crazy towards the end. And it's a good time. It's like a short,
What's the genre again?
it's like an indie thriller.
Indie thriller. Okay.
Yeah.
This sounds like a I think you should leave skit.
Yeah, but it's taken a little bit more seriously than Tim Robinson.
Yeah.
Hey, before you move on, Heather Sachs says the name of the hot dog place is called the Dog House.
Yeah.
She says, I can't believe I remember that. Also, there's a pie fight.
Yeah, there's a food fight. And then there's someone like the banker gets a pie on his face at the end. Yeah.
Dude,
Heather's mind is like an Encyclopedia Britannica of old movies.
Yeah.
I love it.
But yeah, the whole movie for I'm Just Fucking With You is like you're waiting for the moment where these people get pushed over to the edge and like when's violence going to start at a certain point.
Sounds kind of like All My Friends Hate Me, which is a weird psychological thing about gaslighting
Oh.
or maybe social anxiety. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hard to tell.
There's a prank he does where the main character's showering and he's like traveling alone and the the guy comes into his motel room, knocks on the bathroom door, and is like, hey man, he has like this obscure problem. Oh, the door's stuck. I can't get the door open. And he's like, just push it. Just on your side, just push it. And the guy's like, no, I know what you're going to do. You're just going to open it. I'm going to push as hard as I can. You're just going to open it.
Okay, yeah.
No, I know, like, I've been playing pranks on you, but seriously, you just got to push as hard as you can. Just, he's like, okay, I'll do it. And then he does it. And then he like falls and hits his head on the ground and then
Dies.
Yeah.
He goes into a seizure.
Yeah.
He's like, you fucking idiot. You fell for it.
But yeah. And then like at that point, that's when things start to get a little bit more elevated.
I love door humor, like in Hateful Eight. They're constantly like, this door's a real son of a bitch.
Yeah. But yeah, it's worth a watch, I think. I'm Just Fucking With You, streaming on Hulu.
All right, cool. Awesome.
I watched EO.
Oh,
EO, the donkey
movie.
Donkey movie. Streaming on Max now. And this was
That's cool. It's on Max.
very well made movie. Very shot really well. And it's Polish, I believe.
Yeah. The director's kind of known for very artistic visage.
The style of filmmaking reminded me of which movie we watched with Numi Rapaz.
Oh, Rapaz.
You Won't Be Alone?
You Won't Be Alone.
Yeah.
The hip hop witch.
Yeah, the hip hop witch. Reminded me of that a lot, actually.
It's everywhere.
Essentially, it's like you're following this donkey who was in. It's a reverse Dumbo situation where the donkey's already in the circus and then he escapes from the circus and separates from his handler or whatever, and she gets sad. She's not really in the movie that much, but he goes on his little adventures. He ends up at different farms and different rescues, and he's lost in nature, wandering on the road, and you're just watching from his perspective things happening in front of him, like encountering good people and bad people. It's a stream of what I wrote on Letterboxd: stream of donkey consciousness, tree of life for donkeys, reverse Dumbo, Milo and Otis without the real life murder of pugs and cats. And I was really not sure about the ending because I wasn't sure if it was supposed to make me feel good or bad.
I felt bad.
Because
I felt bad.
Yeah, it's definitely not great, like the best situation to be in. Because they talk about donkey salami at some point in the movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, donkey salami, that's weird.
My one criticism for this movie was not enough donkey.
Yeah,
I wanted more. There's a lot of donkey. Wanted more.
There's a lot. And there's a point where you're introduced to characters and then the donkey's not even there, and they're talking about problems in their family. And I'm like, I don't care about
Who the
this.
fuck are these people? Get out of here. Show me the donkey.
I don't care about these.
I want to see EO.
Yeah. What's he doing?
Yeah. Whenever a donkey's off screen, everybody should be saying, "Where's the donkey?"
Yeah. Where's the donkey? Is he safe?
Like Poochie from The Simpsons.
When he ends up at that soccer match, and then like they go to the celebration afterwards, and there's that raid.
That was
from
awesome. Yeah.
And then
I liked it.
But then they beat Donkey. They beat EO.
Yeah, that was not awesome.
That was. I was like, what are you talking about?
No, I was thinking the point when he becomes like their unofficial mascot. It was like when drunk people find a traffic cone, and then for whatever reason you're like, where'd that traffic cone come from? Like, we found it the other day when we were out partying.
Yeah.
You're like, why is this donkey here? Oh, he brought us good luck at the soccer match, so we brought him home with us.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess we have a donkey now.
I caught up with The Autopsy of Jane Doe, streaming on Netflix, Hulu, and Shudder.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much a chamber piece. And what boggled my mind more about this movie was that Brian Cox and Emil Hirsch
I know.
were in this.
Out of nowhere.
And it seems like a lower budget horror movie, but them together, they play a father and son, like morticians in a family owned morgue.
It's like the local morgue.
But the practical effects in this look really good, and it's very eerie, very much an eerie setting as they do the autopsy of this Jane Doe, who is seemingly like she's freshly dead, although she has no signs of like trauma, bruising, or anything like that. Like she looks like she was just killed. And then they start learning more and more things about this person, this unknown person. And
how did she die?
And there's a reveal, and they're like, this is literally impossible. How would this happen?
Yeah.
And then the reveal happens later in the movie, and literally starting to unwrap things. And this is definitely a good movie to watch during Halloween, and definitely a good movie to watch when there's a storm or it's raining outside.
It was, I was way better than I was expecting.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm very interested in this. I've never heard of this one.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's a nice short.
Whenever you have a
watch.
name in it feels like the possession of Deborah Logan or whatever. You're like, you know what that movie's gonna be like.
The Haunting in Connecticut.
Yeah, it felt like that the whole time. But it's the whole movie is an autopsy, a very mysterious autopsy about this Jane Doe, this unknown woman. And you're like, how could she be dead? There's no marks and blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
and it gets worse and worse and worse as you go along, and you're thinking, is she this? Is it an alien? Is it a magic or something? And then it gets revealed. It's
And she was found like underneath, buried underneath like a house or something.
and everyone else is dead except for her.
Yeah.
And she's also dead.
I'm already interested in.
Where's that streaming?
Yeah, it's on Netflix, Hulu, and Shudder.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Bless you.
And then thank you. This is not streaming anywhere. I don't think. I have the Blu-ray, so I just watched that. I think you can rent it. But I rewatched Les Miserables, Tom Hooper's Les Miserables.
Okay.
And we watched Cats, which is directed by Tom Hooper as well.
Yeah.
And that was bad.
Yeah.
That was really bad.
Objectively.
Like, I forgot about it. That's how bad it was.
Almost as bad as the Hip Hop Witch.
And it's a bad in a different way. It's a different type of bad.
Okay.
Cats is not enjoyable. And the Hip Hop Witch, I don't know if it's enjoyable, but... But Les Miserables, a movie that Tom Hooper made back in 2012, and I haven't seen it in a while. I really, really love this movie.
You've always loved this movie, though.
But like
even more now.
I don't know about more, but it just solidified that I still enjoy it.
Yeah.
At the same time, I can see how people would find disdain for it, especially if you're not used to the type of musicals.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of songs, a lot of singing, a lot of musical numbers, and there's no like dancing or anything like that. No, it's not like a Broadway type musical, but it's the thoughts in the characters' heads they're just singing out loud, and then they're conversing with each other.
Yeah.
There's actually very little no singing.
Yeah. The dialogue is singing.
There's actually not a lot of just talking in this movie. But aside from that, the songs are great, and that just comes from the original play or whatever. Mm-hmm. The performances are really good in this. Hugh Jackman's really good, Anne Hathaway's really good, and everyone fits within their role. And the girl who plays Eponine, she's like the girl that can't get the guy because he is in love with this other girl.
Okay,
and she's like, he'll never know me. He'll never know how I feel about him, and he'll never say those words to me. It's a very heartbreaking story. Les Mis, essentially story about love. Basically, what it's about, and love and
stealing bread.
Love and stealing bread. Yeah, but Russell Crowe gets the brunt of the criticism, I think, for his singing. But he's not that bad. He's really not that bad.
He's just not a singer.
He's not a singer. He's not. Hugh Jackman has done a lot of Broadway. He's known more recently from doing singing roles. The Greatest Showman is, I think, the most recent thing that he did that was a musical. They do live singing in this, so like it's not recorded. They're singing on camera and on set, and they're using that audio, which plays into the acting because they're singing and acting and emoting at the same time, which seems like a task.
It's like an opera.
It's a lot.
I guess that's why opera is classic.
Yeah,
like medium or whatever. Like it's impressive for what they're doing. All that shit at the same time. I've never seen it. I'll have to watch it.
What I find funny about this though is that like a movie about the French Revolution and just put the most British people ever in the movie. Let's just make them Cockney. Let's just
sure.
Sacha Baron Cohen plays a role. He's very topical right now.
Yeah. Breaking news: him and Isla Fisher are broken up now.
Is that true?
Yeah. All the men rejoice.
I don't really have much negative to say about this movie other than maybe there are definitely small moments where they could have just talked instead of talked. There's a part where Russell Crowe starts to recognize Jean Valjean, and he does this thing where he goes, "A memory stirs. You make me think of a man."
That's going on the board.
Like, that's him thinking
in his head,
singing out loud the thoughts. In his brain.
He kind of like turns away and says it to himself, but he's singing out loud.
No, he's not. He just looks right at him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's hard to discern like what are thoughts versus what other people can hear as well. But yeah, it's fantastic. It's a A+ movie.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, and that's not streaming. So
What? All that for not streaming?
yeah, you can rent it.
Jesus. Okay.
But yeah, that's it.
Okay. And of course, I have a punishment movie.
2 punishment movies.
What have I done?
You made your bed. Now it's time to sleep in it. Take your medicine. This is the wheel of punishment.
All right. Wheel of Punishment. I lost the Oscar bet. And for that, I was assigned Loqueesha. Loqueesha is a movie streaming on Tubi and Plex. You can watch right now. Loqueesha. Loqueesha.
Loqueesha.
Written and directed by Jeremy Saville. He also stars in the movie. And while I was 5 minutes into this movie and I started Googling, is Jeremy Saville a white supremacist? Because the plot of this movie, the tagline says, sometimes you have to become somebody else to find out who you really are. And it's a white man who works at a bar and everybody tells him that he gives really good advice. Within the first 3 minutes of the movie, they're shooting in the interior of a bar and 2 drunks tell him how good of advice he gives. And then some random woman off the street comes in, a woman of color, which matters later in this review. And she's talking about how hard she has it. I need a hard drink, blah, 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 blah. And he gives her some bullshit advice. And she goes, you know what? You give really good advice. You should do that for a living. And he goes, yeah, maybe I should. And he applies for a radio gig as a talk show host doing like late night advice show, like Loveline or something like that, or Ask Dr. Ruth. And on the listing, it says women and minorities preferred. And he doesn't get the job. He blames racial diversity hires without directly saying it. And then he decides to record a different submission tape as Loqueesha, a black woman of color who is going to be this radio DJ host giving advice. And it's not the most offensive version of a black stereotype voice I've ever heard, because it doesn't even really sound particularly like a woman or a black woman.
It's a real Joanna Man situation.
Yeah. But isn't Joanna Man played by a black man? A black man is just going to a woman, you know?
Yeah, so he can play in the WNBA.
Yeah. And it's kind of like reverse white chicks.
Okay.
Except for he doesn't show up in person.
He's doing black voice.
He's doing black voice. It's like
sorry to bother you.
Reverse sorry to bother you. Yeah. And so he submits this tape, and it's Loqueesha answering all these questions for these people, and he is the fake callers as well. And she's just a sassy black woman who gives a perspective of color to the hard people of whatever unnamed city that he lives in. And it's a low budget movie, but it has a production value of a mid budget movie. It doesn't feel like it's shot on a handy cam or something like that. It looks decent.
It's not the hip hop witch.
No, it's not the hip hop witch, but she is in it though. She cursed Loqueesha. She may be Loqueesha actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it becomes a sensation. Loqueesha becomes a sensation, and he goes from a midnight to 3 a.m. slot to like prime time. And the studio it glosses over all of the idea of like, where do you send the money to? Who do you write the fucking check to? Do you just put Loqueesha on there? Do they have a last name? Is it like Sade, where you just don't have a last name? Or you give it to Jim Cunningham or whatever the guy's name is in the movie? And it doesn't talk about any of that stuff, but he basically says, oh, I need to do this show from my home. I need anonymity. Ain't nobody going to be in the studio when I'm recording. And the boss is, yes, ma'am, you got it, Loqueesha. And the reason why he's doing it is because his ex-wife wants to send their mutual child to a private school. It's $13,000 a semester, and he's going to do that doing radio. Oh, the least lucrative of all entertainment that you can do. Jimmy Kimmel was Jimmy the sports guy for 10 years before he made it onto Comedy Central, and it's you don't make shit as a radio DJ. Not specifically 12 p.m. to 3 a.m. time slot on some bumfuck radio network or whatever that doesn't even do talk radio, because this radio station is converting from metal at midnight to live with Loqueesha. So all the people that are calling in the first couple days are like, is this metal at midnight? I want to request some Def Leppard. And she's, I don't know about no big cats. Nonetheless, ones that can't hear nothing. You need Jesus. And then hangs up on them, and you're like, what the fuck is this? What is this movie? But yeah, there's a number of like instances in the movie where you're like, okay, now they're gonna he's gonna realize like that it's gonna be a clear parody, and there's gonna be some like message learned behind it. But it never gets to that point. At one point, the man who wrote and directed this movie and stars in it wrote a scene where a black woman says, "Okay, I admit it, you're a better black person than I am." From her to him, this white man, because he at some point he has to hire a real black woman to be the face of Loqueesha.
Oh, okay.
And she does like the press tours and she does the book signings or whatever. And it doesn't make sense because her voice doesn't sound anything like the voice on the radio. And it's not like people don't, it's like they're in your ears. The entire radio, it's a very specific thing, hearing a person talk for hours a day. And then you're like, it's like if we were to try to sub out Tyler for someone else and be like, oh yeah, Tyler's still here. And it's just it's Javier. And we're like, hey, it's Pete and Tyler and Joseph. And you're Javier.
Can you do a Tyler impression?
Yeah, I sure can. Hold on. I implore, nay, demand. That's pretty good, right?
You watch the movie?
Spot on. Like,
Yeah.
My streaming picks are Raiders of the Lost Ark, Lost Boys, and...
Pretty good. I never. It's like I'm sitting across the room from you right now.
I took a day off to watch this movie.
Is that you?
Yeah, Tyler.
Hey, look at me. This is normal.
So they sub her out, and then near the end of the movie, he starts getting taken over by Loqueesha. The personality of Loqueesha in his head is like coming out. And the young, attractive black woman that he gives the drink to at the very beginning of the movie comes back to him at the end. I've been listening to this Loqueesha, and she reminds me a lot of you. And that's it. She never is, are you doing this? Are you trying to fake this or whatever?
Is it you?
Yeah, never. She never like is, that sounds like a white guy doing a black woman's voice. None of that. And then she comes on to him, and it's like the most attractive person on either side of the gender spectrum of the entire movie. She's clearly like a 9, and everyone else in the movie is just regular looking people. And she's like clearly a smoke show, and she settles for this fucking
schlub.
Yeah, like dollar store Adam Sandler, which is a kind of funny Adam Sandler trope to begin with.
Okay. It looks like well produced.
Yeah, it does.
It doesn't look low quality.
Yeah, it's almost like the face.
Well, maybe not that, but
it's the faith-based movie of comedies.
Oh, okay.
It's really good.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Because you start watching it and you're like, what is this? What was the guy's? What was he thinking?
Sorry, I don't know what to say.
What was the goal here with Loqueesha? Was it to be like, there's racial diversity hires are bad because that's where it goes near the beginning? Or is it that, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't be matter if it's a black woman or a white man who's saying the message. It's all the same, because at the end, spoiler alert, he comes clean, and then they put it out there on the radio. They're like, okay, do I continue Loqueesha? I'm going to come clean to the listeners. Do I continue Loqueesha?
Mm-hmm.
Do I continue the show exactly the same, but it's Jim, it's me, Jim? Or do you banish me to exile, radio exile? And all his friends and family are some people are high-fiving him for being Loqueesha. Some people hate him for being Loqueesha. And at the end, you really don't learn fucking anything of it. You're just like...
Does he learn anything?
No.
He learns not to do black voice?
No, he doesn't. He does not learn that. And he learns a little bit from his son.
He's like, don't worry about me. I'm not racist.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it was... I don't know. It was not good.
On a scale of 1 to 5, how punished are you?
What, 1 being most punished or 5?
Least punished.
Oh, 5 being most punished.
Most punished.
Well, I'll just give you this. The rating for the movie, I probably give it a 1 and maybe and a half stars. There's the production quality gives it a half star because it wasn't terrible to look at. It just looked like almost like 90s sitcom. You know how Fuller House came back?
Mm.
Full House got revived as Fuller House, and it's a way more polished look of a sitcom. It looked like that. And the intro, surprisingly, looks like Full House intro.
Oh, okay.
With the music and everything, flying over San Francisco and everything, or maybe it's New York, I don't know.
It's got a 1.6 out of 10 on IMDb.
Yeah, I'd say it's about 1.5-ish, something like that. I guess that's double. 1.6 would be because it's out of 10.
Yeah.
So it's like 3.2?
Huh?
Something like that, 3.2?
I don't know.
Yeah, 3.2.
You're 3.2 out of 5?
No, out of 10.
Oh, okay.
No. I'm probably get a 1 star, maybe something like that. Because there were some funny parts to it too. Like the writing is bad, But every once in a while, he cracks a joke that you're like, okay, that's pretty funny.
Okay, you got me.
Yeah, you got me, you racist son of a bitch. So yeah, don't watch Loqueesha. Waste of your time.
Oh, okay.
Absolute waste of your time.
You
Don't
did a
watch
good
it.
job selling me, though.
Andrew is like saying you're making him want to watch it.
Don't watch it. Don't watch it. So that was my first punishment
Just watch
movie.
the Hip Hop Witch again.
I did not watch Loqueesha when I was supposed to. I actually put it off for 2 weeks. I told on myself on the show.
Now you got to watch it twice.
Yeah. So we spun the wheel of punishment a second time, and
Finally landed.
The Hip Hop Witch was my second punishment movie. And
taken over.
It's taken over. It's like a plague that's plagued the Cinematics Facebook group, and it's even bled into Twitter. So
it's like the Bye Bye Man.
Don't think it. Don't say it. DHHW. Yeah, the Hip Hop Witch. So this is released in the year 2000.
Pre 9/11.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
Pre 9/11.
Before we lost our innocence.
Yeah, and this
couldn't be made post 9/11.
Yeah, no.
No way.
We've came so far since then. This is directed by Dale Resteghini. And if you look at his credits now, he pretty much does almost nothing but music videos.
Mm-hmm.
And it's credited as like the production company. It's a production company / record label that produced it. So in the opening credits, it's saying it's like from Hip Hop Arts Movies and Record Label or something like that.
From Death Row Records.
Yeah.
Comes the Hip Hop Witch.
And I'll give you there's a number of famous rappers and a number of non-famous rappers. And there was a great list that I saw on the Wikipedia. Let me pull it up here real quick.
The Hip Hop Witch Wikipedia?
Yeah, it's the Hip Hoppedia.
The Hip Hop Wikipedia.
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 Oh, that's hip hop music Wikipedia. Let's see.
Hip hop. Starting in the early 1800s.
While you're looking that up, just not to pull the curtain back too much, when you were talking about Loqueesha, Joseph was looking it up.
Yeah.
But he had Danny Villeneuve up, so I was like, this is the guy.
This is the dude. It's him.
He made it before he got big.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the cast. We have Dale Resteghini as Will Hunting.
Wow.
From Goodwill Hunting. His name is Will Hunting in this, yeah. And this is supposed to be a parody of Blair Witch, but
I figured that out third way through the movie.
Yeah, there's only like a few small bits that kind of feel that way. Stacey J. Johnson is Dee Dee Washington.
Where's Loqueesha streaming?
Loqueesha is on Tubi and Plex. And The Hip Hop Witch is actually streaming on Amazon Prime.
Wow. And
yeah.
Tubi, I think.
And Tubi as well, yeah. So there's a bunch of people that playing other characters, but then playing themselves. Eminem, Pros, Vanilla Ice, Ja Rule, Raw Digga, Vitamin C, Charlie Baltimore, Spliff Star, Killa Priest, Mia Tyler, Royce da 5'9", Outsiders, Severe, Mobb Deep, Chris Simmons, DeSella Dwellers, Made Men, Professor X, Rock, Afu Ra, Lidu Rock, and Rhythm Trip, all playing themselves. And you have basically two components to this movie.
Mm.
You have a group of 5 stoner white friends that live in the suburb of Salem, Massachusetts. And they physically say in the movie, Salem, where witches are from.
Yeah.
And they're essentially trying to learn about the lore of the Hip Hop Witch, just like the Blair Witch Project. But they're only in it for like maybe 15 minutes.
The kids?
Yeah.
The 5 kids?
The 5 fucking loser looking dopes.
Yeah.
One guy's Shaggy, like a white guy with dreads.
Yeah.
There's a guy that looks
I
like...
think his name is Shaggy.
It is, yeah. He plays Shaggy. They have a guy who looks like Ollie G. He's got like the goggles and stupid like puffy jacket and like beanie cap and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're only on screen for maybe 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes of the hour and a half runtime on this piece of shit.
Yeah, and that's in the synopsis too. 5 white kids get lost in the hood.
Yeah.
Looking for the Hip Hop Witch.
We were looking for the Hip Hop Witch. We ended up finding ourselves.
Yeah.
Maybe the Hip Hop Witch was the friends we made along the way.
That's right. Absolutely. Have you guys seen that clip from, it's in Detroit and it's a news story about the leprechaun in the tree?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wait, was that real?
Anybody seen the leprechaun say, yeah, yeah? And all the people are like, I saw a leprechaun up there. He was playing that leprechaun flute, the magic leprechaun flute. It reminds me of somebody saw that video and made a whole lore about it, but it's called the Hip Hop Witch. And they basically, it's cut between scenes, very short scenes of these white stoners, and then scene after scene after scene of these real rappers playing themselves.
Yeah.
And it has a chyron, like a news chyron that has a little Hip Hop Witch TV. And it says,
they're ghost hunters.
Yeah, and it says Eminem, victim number 27. And it gets up to like victim like 138 or something like that. So in theory, the hip hop witch has killed hundreds of people, but you don't see a single kill.
No, you don't even see the witch.
You don't even see the witch ever.
Like in Blair Witch, I guess.
Yeah. Vanilla Ice, it's implied that he's possessed by the witch or is the witch near the end or something like that. Like he has this crazy bit where I don't know. So
it's all through like interviews.
Yeah.
They're just hearing about the witch the whole time.
And it feels like the Road Rules, The Challenge, or what's that? P. Diddy's Making the Band, where they have interviews of these people and it's like a quick cutaway and they're just talking to the camera and then they're talking to each other and it's shot with this zoom in like 90s, late 90s, early 2000s kind of vibe.
The Dutch,
like Dutch angle shit. And it's bad hip hop music beds under the whole thing too. Like they don't even use like good, like legit music. They're just like shitty, like royalty free music tracks, like drum and bass shit, filling the void of it. And then on top of that, there's another subplot of these news agencies, and they're trying to find a hot story.
Yeah.
And it was like a Neil Breen movie where in the office there was like in Neil Breen's Fateful Findings, there's 7 laptops in his one office, and he's got just piles of books with laptops on them and stuff. And in this one, there's a rented Encyclopedia Britannica dictionary there, and one of the people are trying to do research on the computer, but it's a word processor. They're typing on like basically a typewriter to try to find like the whatever they're looking up. And the hip hop witch is just like Loqueesha has taken over the country, and everybody's talking about the hip hop witch. So maybe there is validity that Loqueesha is the hip hop witch.
Oh, maybe.
And Eminem gets more airtime than anybody.
He's in the same spot the whole movie, though.
They start the interview and then they cut away and they do some more and then they come back to the same interview. And every version of the interview of all these different rappers is like, oh yeah, the hip hop witch, she's a trifling ass crazy bitch. She's 6 foot tall. She threw like a green fireball at me and I dodged that shit. And then she stole my friend's hoopty. And then the next person's, oh yeah, she got like 6 foot long fingers. And
she stick her fingers up my butt.
Trying to stick her finger up my ass. And then later on, it's okay. So here I was, and she got her finger up my ass. And it was Eminem the whole time kept talking about. And then eventually he was fingering her ass.
Yeah, and then his elbow deep.
He was elbow deep in this hip hop bitch. And
the hip hop witch's ass.
The funny thing about this, or sad thing about this, is that right before the film was released, and I say film very lightly.
Right before this video was released.
Yeah, it's listed on IMDb as a video, not a movie. Eminem's lawyers attempted to have the scenes removed from the film. He tried to halt its distribution in 2003, and Artisan Entertainment planned to reissue the film on VHS and DVD with artwork prominently advertising Eminem's appearance in the film.
Oh.
Before the
He's
film,
on the poster.
I know.
Yeah. Or one of the posters.
When I looked it up, I was like, is this the shitty movie? The poster looks like it's got Eminem on the cover. It's got an interesting little kind of artistic look to it.
Before he was an 8 Mile. And she was into hip hop.
Yeah, Artisan recalled copies featuring this artwork without official explanation. So I'm sure they just never got his rights for that to be on the poster.
I see.
But apparently he was like stoned the entire time and was embarrassed about what he did, and he didn't realize it was going into an actual release. It was just like somebody fucking around with a handy cam. Because it looks like it's shot.
It's just a guy with a camera. It's not like a movie set.
Right. Yeah, and this honestly, clearly, literally looks like high school children making a movie. Like what you would see in mass media or something like that. And you watch someone's student film that they're, and not even a student film, a high school film. When I think of student film, I think of like at least college level film school. Mm-hmm. When I think of high school kids making movies, like we did.
This is just an attempt at making a movie.
Yeah.
Like he just found Ja Rule hanging outside and was just like, hey, can you just talk about your ex or something like that?
Yeah. That's what Joe Bridges. So here's what happened with the movie. Mitch, I don't know who put this on the list, on the Wheel of Punishment list. We never got to the bottom of it. I thought it was Mitch, but then I called him out on Cinematics about it, and he said, "Don't sully,
Mitch the Witch.
Don't sully my name."
You turn the M upside down and becomes Witch.
Yeah, he said, "Don't sully my name on my birthday," which is Happy Birthday, Mitch.
Happy birthday, Mitch.
Yeah, and
they do birthdays in Canada.
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they do it. Yeah, but you age backwards, and there's also no gravity there. So I thought it was him, but apparently it wasn't him. I watched it. Brianna watched it. Joe Bridges, faithful listener to the show and also a pal on Cinematics, he saw it listed on I watched it on Letterboxd, and he goes, "Well, it's been on my list forever. Might as well watch it." He watched it.
It wasn't him?
No, it wasn't him. He gave it a glowing 3-star review and said it's one of the best comedies of the last decade.
Decade. It's been 20 years since it came out.
He said 25 years then.
Oh, okay.
So here is Joe Bridges' review.
Wait, was it Joel? Was it?
We don't know. No, because Joel never watched it either. He watched the first 10 minutes after he heard about it on the show and fucking fucked off. He said, no, I won't finish this movie. Now, so Joe Bridges says, I think this is one of the funniest films of the last 25 years. Hear me out.
That's a big, bold statement.
Quarter century, yeah.
It takes massive, massive, massive balls to release this as a movie. How can you not enjoy Eminem doing ad-lib stories of a witch trying to stick her finger up his butt? Not just one story, but story after story, and they keep getting stranger and stranger. How can you not enjoy directing and staging of an office working environment when it's obvious not a single one of the crew or actors has ever been in an office? A woman tries to find information on a late 80s word processor. How is that the weirdest incoherent logic you've ever seen in a movie? How can you not like the constant interviews, in quotes, with rappers talking about the witch where I'm pretty sure they were just given the prompt, talk about your worst ex-girlfriend. Every single one of the interviews is gold. Scratch that, platinum. How can you not? Oh, yeah. And there's the random people that were obviously wanted to be in a movie, so they just showed up acting insane. A guy on a bike who was screaming, she's coming.
She's coming.
She's coming.
My mama.
Crackhead on 10 speed. And then when somebody interviews him and said, who's coming? You think she's going to say, the hip hop witch. And he says, no, my mama's coming. And then rides off. Trigger warning. Vanilla Ice shows up. He said, I absolutely ordered this on DVD for my collection the second it was done, watched on Tubi.
They authored DVDs for this movie.
I know. So Joseph put his review, Bridges, onto Cinematics, which sparked other people to watch it. And we got
taken over.
We got multiple people who watched the Hip Hop Witch. We got Joel finished it now.
Oh, he finished it?
He finished it.
Okay.
Yeah. He basically said, oh my God, 30 minutes left. I'm going to finish it in my free time away from the child, which is in the bathroom.
It's an endurance test.
Yeah. Let's see here. No. Loqueesha. Yeah. And the Hip Hop Witch has taken over. We have Andrew Dykstra post on Cinematics. What bullshit, Joseph Bridges, what bullshit have you wrought upon this group? It's become the hip hop witch cult. And then I asked people to please give your basically your comments of the hip hop witch. Anybody who's been taken over by the witch. Oh, Jack Fitzpatrick says it's happening. Posted a video of him watching the movie. Everyone is.
I know that Mitch watched it.
Mitch already watched it.
Oh, he's already seen it.
He's already seen it. He was the one. Yeah, he's the one who I thought brought it to us. We have, let's see here, 42 comments on this one. Chad Wilfong, maybe I'll watch this tomorrow. I expect awfulness. I'm imagining someone calling Eminem and telling him that there's been a 3,000% increase on streaming of this movie this month. That's from Joel. The residual checks just went from 1 cent to 25 cents. Says Joe Bridges. And let's see here. Bruce Perky says, I made it 20 minutes in. I'm not sure if I can return. He does say that he's almost 60 now and he realized that he doesn't have time for the hip hop witch. Let's see what else. Who is here? Julian Howard says it makes Skinamarink look like a good movie.
Oh damn.
Joel did finish it. Andrew Martin says y'all gonna make me watch this now, and now it's infected to this cult of cinema.
Yeah.
Who else watches? Oh, Heather Sachs made it on Twitter. Who's in the chat now? She's one of my Twitter friends. And she was never in the Cinematics group, so she wasn't affected by it. It made its way into the Twitter.
Shit.
She posted, I'm watching the Hip Hop Witch so I can follow along in the live stream tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, fuck, it's got to Muskie. Oh, Elon has been infected.
It really is. This is the curse.
It is spreading.
It is spreading. Chad Wilfong says, my eyes.
There was one bit in the movie where there's the interviewer is like, we're just waiting on an interview for Eminem.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it keeps cutting back to her. At any moment now,
Still
we're
waiting.
going to get an interview with Eminem.
Yep.
He does it 3 or 4 times. And she's, yep, still out here in the hallway, just waiting for the go-ahead to give Eminem his interview.
Andrew Martin says, the Hip Hop Witch is in the new Omen movie.
I don't know what he means by that. Do you know what he means by that?
There's a witch in there. It's the witch.
There's a witch?
She's the beast.
Oh, okay.
The Hip Hop Witch is a 5-star movie because it brought us all together. So it's become it's infected us. And anybody who's watched it, God bless you, because this movie fucking blows. 0.5 star, 0 review, don't watch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Worse than Loqueesha?
Yes, worse than Loqueesha. This one, at least, it doesn't even look good. It doesn't look good. It
doesn't follow
sound
a
good.
movie structure.
Doesn't follow structure. People are posting videos of it on the Cinematics group. Jack asked, do I continue being employed, socializing on occasion, and creating art and generally living, or do I succumb to the hip hop witch and only exclusively watch that for the rest of my life with no breaks? And then Ken Cunningham says, I need you to keep the same witch energy when Madam Web is streaming. So we can have a collective trauma dump from that too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so those are the punishment movies. I've paid my due. I'm going to take the Oscar pool way more seriously next year because fuck. Damn, that was a lot.
That was 2 movies.
That was just the 2 movies. And it felt like my whole month has been taken up by those 2 fucking movies.
Yeah.
Okay, so my actual streaming picks. This is on Netflix. This is not a movie. It's a series called The Magic Prank Show with Justin Willman.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I've seen clips of this on Instagram. Looks fun.
He had his previous show.
Yes, so Justin Willman's this great comedian who I really like. He's a comedian magician, and he had the last show was called Magic for Humans. Mm-hmm. It had 2 seasons, maybe I think it was 3 seasons actually.
2 seasons and a special,
maybe something like
I
that.
can't remember.
But I loved Magic for Humans. I thought it was great, really fun stuff. It's like on the street magic with real people. David Blaine, but fun, not so serious. And they would do a lot of interesting stuff, and they did some sort of like sleight of hand stuff with kids where they pretended like it was like the marshmallow experiment. You put a marshmallow, you can have 1 marshmallow now, but I'm going to leave for 30 minutes. If you come back, you can have 2 marshmallows. And they had to do the test with the kids. And then when he does some sort of trick and he goes, oh, if I came back, you would have had all these marshmallows, and pulls the cup up and there's 100 marshmallows in there. And you're like, what the fuck? How'd that happen? Wow. It's a fun show. There's a lot of really good stuff from Magic for
He
Humans.
pretends that he makes someone think that they're invisible.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
So Magic for Humans that was one of the big, more memorable ones. And it was like this guy in a park, and they did the whole thing where you take the picture like alone with set up beforehand. And then he picked a random person from the park, which is the only plant. Everybody else was a plant. Yeah, correct. And he was the only like natural person. And they make him invisible, and he doesn't believe it. Everyone's like, wow, you're invisible. And then he's like, what the fuck? And then they do the picture. He's come over here and take a picture with them. And they show him the camera. Yeah. And the camera is just him by himself. The guy's gone. And he's, whoa, fuck, I'm really invisible. How the fuck?
Yeah.
The guy had a really good time. He's like stealing stuff out of people's picnic baskets and stuff. And
they're like, that thing's floating.
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. It was a really cool time. So this new show is called The Magic Prank Show. And it's a little bit more like
Impractical Jokers.
Yeah, a little bit. But he takes a person. It's like Nathan For You, where he takes a person and tries to help them with magic.
Oh, okay.
So he finds a person, for example, who he posted on his Instagram feed or whatever, Facebook feed. Hey, I'm going to do a prank show. Does anybody want to get involved with real people? And some guy in the chat says, can you make my husband disappear? LOL. He's an older man, judging by his avatar. So Justin finds this man's husband in real life. He Facebook stalks him, finds his husband, contacts his husband and says, I got a problem with boomers. My wife is bad. That's the joke, right? Or my husband's bad. That's the joke.
My spouse is bad.
Yeah. Don't like him. Get rid of him, even though I'm married to the guy. And he goes, I think that's mean. And I think that that's something that we need to get rid of. So how about you help me play a trick on your husband? So he gets the guy's husband to do this prank where he goes into a porta potty, and then they are pumping out the porta potty and it accidentally goes in reverse and explodes. And the guy's disappeared, and his husband's just sitting over there at the food truck event that they're at in LA. And he's like, wait, what? And he goes, did somebody go in there? And he's, yeah, my husband's just in there. And he goes, oh, don't tell me that. My boss is going to kill me, man. You got to help me. And so he plays a character, and Justin Willman plays a character in every one of these things because he has to be part of the actual magic. And the extent of the pranks are much bigger in this version, and you see a little bit of the behind the scenes of it too, which I like. It's 8 episodes, I want to say, and that disappearing person prank comes back in this because after they did it on Magic for Humans, you see a bunch of YouTube videos about that.
Yeah,
people
like other people doing it.
With their kids. And there's one famous video of this young like Latino boy crying because he thinks he's invisible and he doesn't know how to get back. Yeah. They get that kid on the show to prank his sister, who she was the one who set up the prank, the invisibility prank with him, and then older sister, and then showed all his friends, and he became YouTube famous. And he was famous for crying. And he's like, Justin, will you help me get my sister back? I'm the kid in that video. I want her to cry.
I want her to cry.
Yes. That's the whole point, is to make her so scared that she cries like he did. And the prank that they decide to do with that, instead of making her disappear like he was, they make everyone around her disappear. So they basically fake a rapture.
Yeah.
They fake a rapture in a restaurant. And they make there's 30 people in the restaurant. They all disappear, and she thinks that she's the only one left in the rapture. And they have God talking to her from out.
Oh my God.
And she starts crying, and then they bring the brother out, and they reveal it's a prank, and it's really good. So
wow, that's a lot.
It's a lot. So each episode is about 45 minutes or so. You know, like an hour with commercials. But
do they
there's no
do
commercials.
like the thing where it's like there's like interstitial pranks between the big big prank entree?
There's
prank?
one big prank and one small prank in each episode, except for the finale is one long big prank. It's the long con. And they do.
It just reminds me of the Nathan for you, the child predator.
Yes.
Where he's handcuffed.
Excuse me. And in this one, there's kind of like a Mythbusters crew where it's all his magic friends, and they show them trying to design the pranks and stuff. Like there's one where, you know, hey, can you help me prank my sister? The two adults, brother and sister. She always pranks me, and she pranks me with this like mannequin head. It's my mom's a hairstylist, and she got the mannequin head, and she keeps putting it in my bed. It gets me every time. So they try to do this prank where they're going to try to make the sister believe that her brother's head came off or something like that.
Okay.
And there's a scene where they're doing like a chiropractor thing where they're like, okay, we're going to put you in here, and then your head's going to go down, but we're going to take a dummy head and pull it off somehow. And they, in their like magic studio, they hit a button and the head explodes off with blood flying all over the place and smashes a hole in the wall. And they're like, we don't want her to have a heart attack, but we maybe let's go a different route. So they show like the failed attempts at the magic and them brainstorming what kind of magic trick that they're going to do to get the person, and then setting it up. And it's really, really great. You don't have to be into, quote unquote, into magic to like this. It's just a really fun show, and it's not too wholesome, and it's not too like R-rated. I think this is literally a show you can watch with everybody. So it's called The Magic Prank Show with Justin Willman, and it's on Netflix right now. Came out on April 1st. I got an advanced screening for it through Netflix, and I couldn't talk about it because we live streamed this, and April 1st was the release date, and we went live like 2 days before last.
How'd you
week.
get early access?
I got with the Netflix people.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a really fun watch. I watched Birth Rebirth, which is streaming on AMC Plus. I didn't love this. I didn't hate it either. It had some really interesting kind of moments to it, but ultimately I thought it left me a little bit cold. And it's basically a woman who's a nurse. Her daughter dies unexpectedly, and she finds out that another person at the same hospital took her daughter's body home and reanimated her.
Oh,
she's been working.
Frankenhooker.
Yeah, she's been working on like bringing people back to life her entire life, and she has already brought a pig back to life.
It's like the Lazarus Project.
Yeah, it's similar to that. And then now the mother teams up with the woman who stole her daughter's body because she realizes, oh fuck, she is alive. And what happens behind that? Now, you think it goes into some fantastical finale with this, but it really fizzles out. And where this whole movie would be like the first act, or maybe first act and a half of a real movie, and then the third act would have some big something reveal to the world or whatever. But it's right when that gets going, the movie's over. So you kind of left me a little bit cold on that. So that's a Birth Rebirth. If the plot sounds good, great acting, and it's Carla from Scrubs, the Latino, kind of half black, half Latino woman from Scrubs. She plays the mother of the daughter, and she's great in this. Really, really good in this.
What is it?
C+.
Oh.
I watched Wormwood, Road of the Dead from 2014. This is a $150,000 budget zombie movie from Australia, and it's basically touted as Night of the Living Dead mixed with Mad Max.
Okay.
Wow. And it is, I call it more like 28 Days Later mixed with Mad Max, but, potato. This is streaming on, let's see here, also AMC Plus. Oh, you know what? Birth Rebirth, I think, is on Hulu. I'm sorry. And, Wormwood, it's spelled WYRM Wood. Wormwood, which is the name of some sort of comet or something like that, some light from the Bible that signifies the end of times. And you're basically following, there we go. Wormwood. And the selling point to this is, again, it's a low budget zombie movie. You probably never heard of it. You've definitely never seen it. And it is fucking gory as shit. There's so many fun, cool kills. Like the entire budget was built on practical effects. And they build themselves like football gear that's painted black, like Mad Max style. And they're converting their cars to this alternative fuel source because for some reason in this post-apocalyptic zombie world, all the gasoline has lost its flammability.
Oh.
but the blood and the breath of the zombies is flammable. So they're like walking grenades. And you could like...
Australia runs on zombies.
Yeah, so they like at some point they convert a car over to zombie blood power.
Oh.
And they build a cage around it, and they're all out there with like axes and bats and stuff, like killing zombies out in the bush in Australia. It's pretty fucking cool. And then there's a subplot too about one of the characters is trying to get to his sister who is stranded in this mad scientist's mobile lab, and she's being injected with spinal fluid from one of the zombies, and she turns into the zombie queen and control all the zombies.
Okay.
It gets fucking wild.
All right.
All that sounds like stupid and whatever, but it's executed in a very fun way. And it like the blood and the guts and the viscera all feels very real. So underrated zombie movie called Wormwood Road of the Dead from 2014. It is streaming on AMC Plus. And I think it's worth a rent if you're a zombie fan. And then lastly, Lisa Frankenstein. This is a Zelda Williams, Robin Williams' daughter.
Oh, debut too. Yeah.
Debut feature, directing feature. And it's streaming on Peacock. And it's starring... Who's the girl from Spontaneous? What is her name? Is
she also in Freaky?
Yes, that same girl.
Yeah.
I can never remember her name. Catherine Newton.
There we go.
And Cole Sprouse, who plays one of the
twins in
He
Big
plays
Daddy.
Cody
Yeah.
in Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And he also plays, doesn't he call himself Frankenstein in Big Daddy?
Oh my God. Wait, no.
Yes, he does.
Yes,
Does
I'm
at some
Frankenstein.
point.
Yeah, I remember.
Because you want to name yourself? Sure. What do you want to name yourself? Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Andrew Martin corrected me. Birth Rebirth is on Shudder. It's a Shudder original.
There we go.
Which I think you can also get on AMC, I think. But either way, so Lisa Frankenstein. It's kind of an imagining of Frankenstein, but not really, honestly.
Like a modern.
It's more like a
playful kind of.
It's more like a zombie thing because
Is that what Frankenstein is?
or
the monster, Frankenstein's monster?
So Dr. Victor Frankenstein intentionally decided to create a monster made of multiple human parts, and then the lightning provided the power to get the monster to life, right? In this version, a lightning storm just happens to bring to life a zombie, like a one corpse.
I see.
And it happens to be the corpse of this person. Of Cole Sprouse. And he's like a turn of the century, like 1900s or maybe like 1850s dandy. And she is a kind of depressed, macabre sort of young girl whose mom was murdered in spectacular fashion when she was younger. Now she's very detracted from society, and she hangs out in the graveyard in the cemetery. And she particularly likes this grave because it has this great headstone on it, and that's the one that gets brought to life.
I see.
He comes to her house, and he's missing a hand, he's missing an ear, and so she starts killing people and taking their parts and sewing them onto him. And as he gets more parts added to him, he becomes more and more like a living person, less like a zombie.
More human.
Warm bodies.
Yeah, and it's all set in the 80s, so there's a pretty cool vibe to it. But I don't know what it was about this, but it really didn't land on me very well at all.
It looks like a mid movie. I gotta say
it's below mid in my opinion.
Oh,
yeah, maybe mid, maybe below mid.
Diablo Cody write this?
Yeah, Diablo Cody wrote it. You're right.
Oh.
So it also has Carla Gugino's in it.
Oh, the one that got canceled from
Gugino.
Yeah, from The Mandalorian.
No, that's Gina Carano.
Oh, I was nowhere near that.
Carla Gugino is from
Watchmen.
Gerald's Game.
Oh, she's
Watchmen.
the mom from Spy Kids 1, 2,
Yeah,
and 3.
I think so. No, that's Gina Carano also.
No, that's Marla Gugino.
So I think the storytelling in this is kind of bad. It's set up the character motivations don't make sense. The directing's not really
I was gonna
great.
ask, do you think if they had a different director, it'd be a better movie?
I think so.
Is this supposed to be a comedy?
Yeah, it's like a cheeky dark comedy.
Oh.
Sorry, Zelda.
Yeah, the sets were okay. Costume design and makeup was really solid. I liked that her stepsister was actually nice to her.
Not everyone in your family can be funny.
Yeah. But the character motivations, they just didn't feel fully realized. They rushed through a lot of the exposition pieces that would have helped bring it all together. But you're just kind of like, oh, she's murdering people now? I thought I was rooting for her. And it's not like murdering in a fun way. She murders her stepmom, who is an asshole to her. And then she absolutely does murder someone who sexually assaulted her. So you're like, okay, I'll give you a pass for that. But then it gets worse. And then she kills a cop randomly who just discovers
that's Hey, Cab.
She's a nice cop.
She was ahead of her time.
Yeah. 1980s ACAB.
The only good cop.
Dead. Not Skinhead you're thinking of. So anyways, I don't know. You could pass on this. It's streaming on Peacock, but you could absolutely pass on it.
So it's not funny.
There were some funny parts. It was cute.
Was it out loud?
Did you laugh
No.
more in Loqueesha or this movie?
Push, even. I probably laughed a little bit more in this. It's not. I don't think it's supposed to be an outright funny movie. It's more clever than anything. Yeah, Lisa Frankenstein.
It's
I'm not gonna ever remember this.
Didn't move the needle.
No, not at all.
Didn't do anything.
Yeah, 2.5 stars maybe. Something like that. So that's what I got.
Okay.
Yeah. Javier, do you have anything else you wanted to say before we take a break before our review?
You can pay your way onto this seat. You just have to pay $20 a month for a year, and you can get on the show.
You can be on the show.
I paid my way here.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's called what's it? Nepotism.
And be in the area.
Go to the 3 of them. Also be in Sacramento the weekend we're recording this.
Yeah. Get the dump set up. That was a plant.
Yeah.
We actually texted Tyler's dad and was like, "Hey, you have to go to the dump on this day."
I know. Daryl, can you take Tyler out of town somewhere? Possibly somewhere dirty.
Need some new wardrobe and new sheets.
It's his Disneyland.
I hope that anybody who's listening on the podcast at least hops over to the YouTube to see our fun post-it note we put over Tyler's name.
Yeah,
for Javier.
I love it.
Yeah, it's just a temporary fix. We'll fill it in next time we have a different fill-in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to take a break right now on the live stream. We're going to keep it running. So if you want to be involved at the feature review, which is going to be Blackberry from last year, directed by Mac Johnson, stick around. If you're on the YouTube land, that'll be released this Wednesday. But thank you to everyone in the YouTube live chat who's been chatting it up with us. Joseph Bridges just popped in there. Oh my gosh. Andrew says, Lisa Frankenstein's a perfect 5 out of 5, better than Dune Part 2. Oh boy, I don't know about that.
Smoking dope.
Hey, what are you smoking over there, Andrew?
It's the witch. Honestly, it's
yeah,
what's
the witch got him. The hip hop witch got him. Maybe that's the only thing that could have made Dune 2 better is the hip hop witch.
The witch.
She's in there riding the sandworm. So yeah,
She's
anyways,
in it. The Bene Gesserit. They're witches.
Oh, that's true. Good point. Anything else, fellas?
Nay.
Okay.
0 for me.
And so thank you to our cool ass yard duties over on Patreon. That's Javier.
What's good?
Yeah. Heather Sachs in the chat, Ryan Corbin, and Chris. If you want to follow us on Patreon, patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass. But watching on the YouTube stream or YouTube after the stream is not live anymore is just as good. So until next time. Thank you for joining us as we gab and chatter. Follow us later on in the week or in a few minutes when we review Blackberry from Matt Johnson from Javier right over there. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com. Do you know it, Javi?
No, hell no.
And follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Middle Class Film Class and on Twitter at Podcast MCFC and leave us a voicemail, a number.
Yeah, it's in the show notes. But more importantly, go to the YouTube page, watch us on there, watch our shorts and all that kind of good stuff. And it means a lot. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Class dismissed.
I gotta get out of here. The bell doesn't dismiss you. I dismiss you.
You're free to go.
See you next week.
See you later.
See you later.
That's a wrap.
Great show.